Our main character today is named Kim Sung-in, the strongest awakened being forced by the world to wear the hero's cape in the final bloody battle against the monsters. He was sent to his grave by Phasnia, but perhaps heaven felt it was a waste for such a talent to just die like that, so it pulled his soul back 25 years. Sung-in was reborn in the body of a student named Kim Soo-hyun. But would his mission in this second life be any different from his last? To find out, we have to return to that fateful rainy night. A voice called out to a hero who could only see a translucent hand reaching forward as the image of a grubby-faced little boy appeared. The mysterious person tugged at Sung-in's sleeve, pleading, "Please save this world. Everyone is counting on you. Our hero, please save us, protect us, I beg you. Our hero, a hero." Countless invisible hands tried to pull at the small figure before him. The boy could only bite his lip and tremble as the voices continued to echo one after another. "Please save us, O great hero." With tears streaming down his face, Sung-in bit his lip and called out, "Mom, everyone says I'm the hero who will save the world." But why do I have to be a hero? The woman before him said nothing, only parting her lips slightly in a gentle smile. But the boy choked back a sob and cried out, "I want it all to end right here. This is too heavy, and it's so scary." Suddenly the woman spoke, "My son, you are the hope of this entire world." And then she shoved Sung-in backwards with all her might. The boy, not understanding what was happening, couldn't react in time as the woman spoke with a cold voice. "Stop your crying. It's pathetically weak. Now go and sacrifice yourself like a true hero." Before his eyes was the sight of countless arms pulling the boy down into the depths of despair. A single drop of water falling on Sung-in's face appeared in the vision as a torrential downpour began to fall. As he felt the rain, he slowly opened his eyes. Awakened being Kim Sung-in. Sung-in struggled to sit up amidst the rubble. With his sword in hand, he slowly got to his feet. "I think it'd be better if I just went for a walk and got some fresh air." Then, standing on a tall building, Sung-in raised an eyebrow and looked down. A horde of bizarrely shaped monsters was marching forward in unison. Seeing this, he couldn't help but let out a cynical chuckle. "But these damn monsters won't even let me rest for a single moment." Sung-in looked down at the massive number of monsters below, unable to hide his annoyance. "You guys sure gathered fast, you annoying bastards. Mana level 971. Magic rank 91. The monsters looked up at him, and at the same time, Sung-in's pupils glowed red. He glared down at the grotesque monsters. And then, with his weapon in hand, he charged fiercely toward them. The monsters, showing no fear, rushed forward to meet him. Sung-in powerfully swung the sword in his hand behind him. Title hero. He unleashed countless slashes towards them. Sung-in stomped his foot hard on the head of one monster to gain momentum, using it as a springboard to launch himself high into the air. Next, with his weapon in hand, Sung-in gritted his teeth and slammed it down hard. A loud crash echoed as a giant fissure appeared in the ground. After launching the attack, Sung-in frowned and panted heavily. Suddenly, he coughed up a large mouthful of blood. At the same time, a deep voice rang out, as expected of humanity's hero. The image of a giant hand touching the ruined building appeared. A strange creature manifested before Sung-in. The giant Phasnia opened its mouth. "This is the gravitational pull of my power." He looked at the thing before him and frowned. Strange sounds echoed non-stop. The Phasnia had to admit, "You are worthy of becoming a part of me." Sung-in just narrowed his eyes at the Phasnia. Its voice echoed through the space. "I will defeat you, and then I will take that magnificent power for myself." Suddenly, with a loud crash, it didn't hesitate to immediately slam Sung-in into a building. Looking completely exhausted, he let out a few heavy coughs, but a tired, scornful smile still appeared on his face. Sung-in looked at the Phasnia before him and scoffed. "So, this is how it all ends, huh? Hero." A soft voice echoed in his head. "My son, my—" He spoke out loud. "Don't make me laugh." Under the torrential rain, the scene looked like the apocalypse. The image of monsters flying through the air appeared. The rain showed no signs of stopping, and Sung-in still lay on the ground. Looking frustrated, he gritted his teeth and trembled. "In the end, I couldn't protect anyone. A hero." What a joke. At that moment, Phasnia raised its hand high, about to slam it down. The fist was aimed directly at Sung-in's position. Helpless Sung-in thought to himself, "In the end, I really am nothing at all." A black void appeared. After being unconscious for a while, he slowly opened his eyes. A rushed voice called out, "Hey!" A faint light shone down, causing Sung-in to wince slightly. Then he began to open his eyes to feel the sunlight. A boy looked down at Sung-in lying on the ground. Then he said cheerfully, "Hey, Kim Soo-hyun. Hey, kid. The moment you passed out. Well, we all thought you were dead for sure." Hearing his name called, Sung-in's eyes shot wide open in shock. He immediately shot up, startling everyone. Why'd you jump up like you've seen a ghost?" A look of utter confusion appeared on Sung-in's face, as if he had no idea what was happening. Next, Sung-in looked down at his two uninjured hands, then looked up at the clear blue sky above him. With a bewildered expression, Sung-in just stared at the sky, much to the confusion of the other boy. And then he raised an eyebrow and whispered to himself, "Was it a dream?" Sung-in was still sitting there mumbling, "I swear, that Fasnia bastard." The others heard him and looked confused. What's he rambling about? What kind of crazy nonsense is he spewing? One of them spoke up amused. "Well, since you're awake now, you should get ready for your next beating, right?" Sung-in looked at the person in front of him with a hint of surprise. "You guys are actually still alive." The guy grabbed Sung-in by the collar. "You can shut up now. Stop your nonsense." As his shirt was grabbed, he looked up in surprise just as a fist came flying towards Sung-in's face. Without hesitation, he immediately raised a hand to block the attack. Seeing Sung-in dare to fight back, the guy's face twisted in shock. Sung-in's gaze in turn became ice cold. Next, Sung-in swung hard, landing a powerful punch right in his opponent's face. The blow sent him rolling away like a ball. The other three stared at the scene, their jaws dropping in unison. After throwing the punch, Sung-in stammered an explanation. "Shoot, sorry. It was a reflex." The guy who got hit roared in anger. "Are you crazy, Kim Soo-hyun? You're not walking away from this today." Suddenly, one of them shouted, "Hey, Kang-hyuk, the cops are coming." With one cheek already swelling, he whipped his head around, startled. "What? Why now? Then Kang-hyuk warned Soo-hyun angrily, "You'd better show your face at school tomorrow." Sung-in, looking bewildered, muttered to himself, "Kim Soo-hyun, but my name is Kim Sung-in." Then, as he struggled to his feet, he wondered in confusion, what the hell is going on? Suddenly, Sung-in noticed a phone on the ground, and he reached down to pick it up. A thought popped into his head. Is this theirs? At the same time, Sung-in grumbled under his breath. They should at least own something better than this. This phone is way too old anyway. This thing's at least a 25. Suddenly, his eyes widened in surprise, as if he had just discovered something. Sung-in stared at the face reflected on the phone screen with a bewildered expression. Who's this is? The story begins at a point in the future 2042. The world was destroyed, not by planetary annihilation or some Big Bang, but after an event where dungeons began appearing en masse. From unexplored dungeons all across the globe, monsters poured out and began to invade the real world. Those monsters emerged to conquer. They ravaged human settlements through a phenomenon known as the Surge. Before long, their armies overwhelmed humanity and the peaceful world that once was. Now it was mercilessly destroyed. Fortunately, humans are strong and highly adaptable creatures. And, on the other hand, people who received the power to fight against this disaster also appeared. Humanity, with its new abilities, could fight back against the legions of dungeon monsters. They came to be known as the Awakened, and Kim Sung-in was one of them. However, the monster's power was not to be trifled with. Even as humanity was wiped out, he fought the monsters alone until the very end. He was incredibly resilient. Standing firm, refusing to give up, he was the only human left alive, and also the strongest awakened. That was until now. An annoyed voice suddenly cut in. The police officer's face looked as if he were conducting an interrogation. "What's your name?" Soo-hyun still wasn't used to his new identity. "Kim Sung." No, it's Soo-hyun." The officer needed his basic information to file a report. Date of birth. His mind was still foggy. "What?" The officer repeated, trying to remain patient. "I asked how old you are. Can you answer a little faster?" The truth was Soo-hyun had no idea how old this body was. His eyes drifted absently to a calendar on the wall. 2022. A confused and hazy feeling crept into his mind. If I'm not mistaken, it should be 2042 right now. But this is 25 years ago. A long silence prompted the police officer to speak up again. Hey, kid, answer me. Soo-hyun snapped out of it. 2. No, I'm 19 years old. Hearing this, the officer decided to just get it over with. Looks like the kid is still a student. I'll just ask him again and send him home. All right then. 19 years old and you don't remember your address. The officer looked at the boy's bewildered face. So you only remember your name and your age, is that right? Meanwhile, Soo-hyun still felt like this reality was a strange dream. I thought I had died for sure at Prapnia's hands. Unaware, he let the man opposite him yell, unable to hold back any longer. Kid, where's your head at? Your final exams are probably coming up soon and you're acting like this. But the words didn't even register. Am I dreaming, or is this Prapnia's magic? However, the final memory of Prapnia's fist hurtling towards him was still crystal clear. Soo-hyun clenched his fists on his lap, truly reaffirming his thought. No, this feeling isn't fake. For some unexplainable reason, he was forced to admit that he had definitely traveled back to the past. At the same time, he couldn't forget his old body. But where is my body? Kim Sung-in's body. What do I have to do to get back to that body? There are too many things I don't understand right now. The police officer, seeing that Soo-hyun still wasn't paying attention, sighed. Forget it. There's no point in talking anymore. Your mother is on her way here. So you should get ready for when she arrives to pick you up. He also gave him a sincere piece of advice. Once you get home, don't go wandering off again. Just stay put. Especially since those construction sites nearby keep popping up on the news because of it. So, don't hang around there. That last part confused him. The police officer continued to grumble. Dealing with a dazed kid like you. Kids these days have no fear at all. Suddenly, a trembling voice interrupted. Soo-hyun. A middle-aged woman suddenly rushed forward, cupping Soo-hyun's face. With a frantic look, Hyun's mother thanked the heavens as her face drew close to his. Why on earth are you at the police station? She seemed genuinely worried about him. What happened to your face, honey? Are you okay? Soo-hyun's gaze was hazy at first. Who is this? Is this the mother of this body's original owner? Eventually, his mother led him out of the police station. As the late afternoon sun bathed the small city, she asked, while they walked home, Did you forget our address? It's true that our family moved before, but has something been going on lately? His voice trailed off a bit. I'm just not quite used to the new address yet, Mother. Hearing this, Soo-hyun's mother suddenly laughed. That's strange. Why are you suddenly speaking so politely? It's not like you at all. Her words hit a nerve. Really? For a moment, he was stunned and didn't know how to respond. Damn it. What should I say? A shadow crossed Soo-hyun's eyes. Should I apologize first for causing her so much trouble? Suddenly, a hand held a handkerchief out in front of him. Anyway, wipe your face first. Her tone was a mix of gentle scolding and affection. Honestly, which kids at school were bullying you again today? When will they ever learn to take responsibility for their actions? She even reminded him to rely on her. Remember to tell me if they dare to do it again, you hear. Then she naturally reached down and took his hand. Next time, I won't let it slide. Soo-hyun, momentarily dazed by her concern, let himself be pulled along. Suddenly, she spoke, breaking the silence. He, lost in thought, was startled. Yes. His mother looked around, puzzled and confused. Why is there no one at the park today? Did something happen? Hearing that, he finally noticed how unusual the place was. He just realized how strangely quiet it was. While the two of them found it hard to explain, something had caught their scent and was creeping closer, with sharp teeth and silent steps. It silently approached his mother. Seeing the distance between them, she urged, Why did you stop walking? Hearing her, he snapped out of his daze. I'm coming. But before Soo-hyun could take a step, he heard a growl followed by the rapid footsteps of a four-legged beast. The sound grew clearer. The sound, amplified by the silence, made him turn his head. Unfortunately, the first thing he saw was a set of the beast's sharp teeth. Soo-hyun's pupils contracted in shock. A wolf. On reflex, he spun around and threw the backpack off his shoulders, sending its contents flying everywhere. The wolf only managed to bite off a piece of the bag before skidding to a halt. No, it's not a normal wolf. Soo-hyun was very familiar with this type of monster he'd been fighting for so long. I'm sure it's a warhound. Now he understood the vague "it" the police officer mentioned. So what the officer said earlier, combined with what he knew about these monsters, means this is an outbreak. However, there was something strange about this. 2022 was a year when the frequency of outbreaks gradually increased over time, so there's no way a monster should be appearing right in the middle of the city like this. Right now, there were two wolves baring their teeth and drooling as they stared at them. Soo-hyun's eyes darted to the objects around him. The question is, how do I defeat them? First, I need something to use as a weapon. With no other choice, he grabbed an umbrella from a nearby bench. His mother, seeing the creatures, also realized the situation with a look of disbelief. Monsters, but the media reported that they had all been taken care of. He could only stand protectively in front of his mother. Don't move. Soo-hyun bit his lip tightly, gripping the umbrella handle and pointing it at the wolves. I'm still not used to this body, but if I focus on just one, it should be fine. One of the wolves suddenly leaped high and lunged, baring its teeth to attack. Soo-hyun struggled to lean aside, matching its movement as he gritted his teeth. He swung the sharp tip of the umbrella across the wolf's body. The wolf immediately recoiled in pain, a long, bleeding gash appearing on its side. However, that alone wasn't enough to take it down. It immediately turned back to bite him. Soo-hyun, noticing the wolf's unusual movement, reacted quickly, raising the umbrella to block its snout. However, the wolf's strength was too great, making his arm tremble. Was the cut too shallow? In an instant, he was pinned to the ground, helpless. I can't believe I don't have enough strength to defeat a low-level monster like this. If I were still in my old body, one blow would have been enough to take them down. At that moment, Soo-hyun wished for a miracle, or at least the body of an awakened. But there was no miracle, only the other wolf seizing the opportunity to charge. He realized its approach too late. There's another one. And yet, just as things were hanging by a thread, a figure recklessly rushed out and shoved the wolf's large body away. His eyes widened in disbelief. It all happened in a flash that Soo-hyun never expected. Mom. His mother collided with the wolf and was thrown to the ground by the powerful impact. His face twisted in disbelief. Mom just saved me, so why? Soo-hyun didn't waste time arguing. He kicked the wolf in front of him away. Ignoring the two wolves at his back, he rushed to her side. Mom! His voice cracked. A mix of panic and worry laced his words. Why would you do that? It's dangerous. She was still mumbling his name, Soo-hyun. But her eyes were squeezed shut. Mom's fine. And yet her next words left him stunned. Until the very end, you have to live. With those words, she passed out. He gently laid her down, followed by a moment of inscrutable silence from Soo-hyun. The two wolves behind him were still baring their fangs, waiting for an opening, but they hesitated, held back by a dark aura emanating from the young man. Soo-hyun's voice turned unnaturally grim. Hey, you trash! In that instant, he seemed to become an entity far darker than they were. You got a death wish. The two beasts immediately sensed the danger radiating from him. Without a second's hesitation, they leaped away, their instincts screaming at them to flee. Soo-hyun, now completely enraged, grabbed the umbrella ready to throw his life on the line. I'm not letting a single one of you get away from here. However, the moment he took a step, his legs gave out. He collapsed onto the street, unable to move another inch. A forced smile spread across Soo-hyun's face. Good thing those two wolves didn't see this. The sky was now growing gloomy. My stamina is pathetic, too. Am I really so weak that I can't even give chase? Damn it. Still, he couldn't just leave the two of them lying out here. First things first, I have to get home. As he lifted his mother to carry her on his back, a sharp pain shot through his injured spine. Then suddenly Soo-hyun remembered something critically important. Wait a second. I just got transported to this place. Don't tell me I'm homeless. Where is my house? By the time the purple sky had faded into the deep blue of night, he finally managed to drag himself to a small, modest apartment building. Panting, Soo-hyun laid his mother on the sofa. Finally, we're home. He felt a surge of relief and praised his own quick thinking. Thank God I had the address in my wallet. I was so close to being homeless, sleeping on the street. Suddenly, the woman on the sofa shifted, startling him. It seemed she was dreaming about what had just happened, still trying to protect him. Soo-hyun, don't worry. Mom's here. Even in her dreams, she's not thinking about her own life. Run, my son. Hearing this, Soo-hyun's face tightened, 1,000 unspoken emotions welling up inside him. He couldn't forget what had just happened. Mom, why would someone as strong as you destroy yourself like that? A strange question echoed in his mind, just to protect her child. Soo-hyun's expression softened as he stared at this new mother of his. He wondered as he examined this strange new body. Why is this body so weak? This felt completely different from his old body as Sung-in. He couldn't believe how fragile this new body was. I struggled this much just from fighting a few monsters. The feeling of helplessness made him furious. Did I really regress into a body this frail? This breakable Soo-hyun didn't want to repeat the same disastrous past as his previous life. Is that it? As he was lost in thought, a shimmering gate began to open. He didn't notice its appearance yet. No, I need to calm down no matter how bad things get. I have to keep a clear head and stay composed to figure a way out of this. A static-like sound suddenly shattered the silence. User confirmed. For a moment, that voice sounded bizarrely familiar. Process complete. Soo-hyun stared blankly at the gate that had suddenly appeared. Valid user Kim Soo-hyun. Opening gate. There was no mistaking that shimmering light. The void. This gate before him was incredibly familiar. If the void gate was opening, it meant this body was in the process of becoming an awakened. Does this mean I can start over in Kim Soo-hyun's body? For a moment, Soo-hyun hesitated, looking down at his hands. Back in 2022, as Kim Sung-in, I was just an ordinary human. But now, it looks like I've entered the void. Even earlier than my previous body did. The brilliant gate before him was incredibly tempting, and its timing was perfect. He wasn't going to miss this opportunity. All right, I've come this far, there's no reason to hesitate anymore. Soo-hyun stepped inside, an empty space. Welcome to the Tower of Trials. This place appeared at the same time as the dungeons. The Tower of Trials, otherwise known as the Void. The Void grants humanity the power to fight against monsters. If a user qualifies and clears the first floor of the tower, they are recognized as an awakened. Afterward, by climbing the tower, that individual grows progressively stronger. He was now one of the chosen for that very reason. Most users set their sights on reaching the highest floors. But in truth, there is a system within the tower that is even more important than climbing. The Void system began to speak. User Kim Soo-hyun will now begin the trial. Entering Floor 1. This was the starting point for Soo-hyun's new life. As usual, the system presented a preset difficulty level. Please select a difficulty. You may choose from the lowest level, level 1, to the highest level 10. Without hesitation, he chose the highest level, level 10. The system confirmed his choice instantly. Each floor has a difficulty level. You have selected level 10. In addition to the floor number in the Void, a difficulty level system is also implemented. Even on the same first floor, the higher the difficulty you choose, the stronger the monsters will be. And, naturally, the stronger the monsters, the greater the rewards will be. The space before him suddenly expanded. This was the price one had to pay for choosing such a high and dangerous difficulty. In short, no guts, no glory. Soo-hyun was transported to another place to begin the trial. Tower of Trials, first floor. The space suddenly transformed into an arena. Difficulty level 10. Begin. At this point, he was in too deep to turn back. I knew there was a reason I chose level 10, but am I going to be okay? Even before the highest I ever went was level 8. The determination in his eyes flared. For my goal, no, I have to overcome that dark future where humanity collapses. That's what will happen if I keep making the same mistakes as before. The outcome will be exactly the same. A small circle displaying weapons appeared around him. Please select a weapon. Outside the blue light were bipedal, chicken-like monsters. As soon as Soo-hyun grabbed a weapon, the trial began. The protective blue circle vanished, forcing him to advance and confront them. A few hours later, back in the real world, it was a quiet, moonlit night. However, a man on the street was screaming like a stuck pig. He had been cornered in a dead-end alley by 2 wolves. "Help me!" He scrambled backward, knowing he couldn't fight them. The monster's eyes were fierce and menacing as they slowly advanced. Is anyone there, faced with their sharp fangs? The man could only scream his lungs out. Somebody, please! Just then, Soo-hyun appeared like a hero. Finally found you. A blinding flash of light burst forth, dazzling the miserable man. He seemed to have jumped out of nowhere. He kicked the wolf that was about to attack the innocent man right in the snout. In his hand, he carried a green umbrella he'd conveniently picked up earlier. A cold, profound glint flashed in Soo-hyun's eyes. With just a single swing of the flimsy umbrella, the wolf's body shattered. It all happened in the blink of an eye, to the astonishment of the remaining wolf. His tone was deep and vengeful, as if seeking retribution. "I told you I wouldn't let you run, didn't I?" He spoke, consoling the wolf, which was stunned by the situation. "Don't worry." Soo-hyun swung his arm in a sweeping motion, and a brilliant light flashed. His eyes grew cold as he tossed the umbrella aside. "You'll be joining it soon enough." Awakened Kim Soo-hyun. Tower of Trials, first floor. Difficulty 10. Complete. The news reported daily on the recent appearances of monsters. We have recorded a steady increase in the number of dungeons compared to 2019 when the first one appeared. The number of new dungeons has now tripled. This is something humanity must adapt to. One day, dungeons suddenly appeared. Their emergence caused great controversy and had a massive impact. They were forced to analyze this new phenomenon. Dungeons and the Tower of Trials seem similar at a glance, but their internal structures are completely different. The dungeon system, the Tower of Trials, high rank, low rank. Each color is assessed with a different difficulty. Difficulty 1 to 10 varies by floor based on the different colors between floors. Now we will delve into the differences between them based on currently available information. There are also introductory lessons about these two phenomena. Dungeons, the Tower of Trials, and the system. The entire world focused its attention on these unidentified objects that appeared all at once. Their curiosity and interest in these things grew day by day. However, along with the danger came attractive rewards as well as a source of power for users. The resources within the dungeons, like mana stones, also became more diverse. Auras and treasures from within the dungeons caused their prices to skyrocket. To this day, becoming a top-ranked Awakened means standing at the pinnacle. The rewards obtained from dungeons not only affect daily life, but also have a strong impact on the global economy. The Awakened were gradually drawn in by the artifacts obtained from conquering dungeons. Achievements and fame naturally followed, until the warning bells began to ring. However, no one knew. The news anchor continuously delivered urgent information. There have been several warnings about the danger of the uprising, a phenomenon where monsters from within the dungeons pour out into the real world. Dungeons from high rank to low rank are experiencing this uprising, but overall, in the long run, dungeons have had a positive impact on society. This event that befell the human world is the uprising, a phenomenon where as more dungeons appear, the monsters will gradually increase in both number and strength, then overflow into the real world in the not-too-distant future. This will become a reality after 2028. For now, their lives continue to pass by slowly, and they will soon realize how the catastrophe of that day will destroy this world. A few awakened hunters were standing on a street corner chatting. "Hey, did you see the updated rankings?" "Why, so, didn't you see it?" "Same as always. But I think a new name just appeared today on the awakened list. Another name popped up. I mean, how did that guy even complete it?" The first floor with a score like that. Ranking list. First place Kim Soo-hyun. They were all shocked. 2,230 points. But second place only has 940. Us, base, imas. That score is on a completely different level. A new star has been born. While they were still wondering, the man himself had arrived. Welcome to the Tower of Trials. But who the hell is Kim Soo-hyun? Soo-hyun stepped out of the gate and let out a breath. It's been a while since I've set foot in this place. Looking closely at this place, the corners of his mouth lifted into a slight arc. This medieval-looking town is called the Tower of Trials, or the Void. It's a vast world where floors are interconnected, a gathering place for the awakened from all over. Each floor has a different environment. The weather, even the culture changes. It's filled with awakened just like you, but they all share one common goal: to reach the next floor. You must pass the first floor's trial to become an awakened and arrive here. The second floor is currently a residence for newly awakened compared to the other floors. It's much easier to gather items here. However, if you want to enjoy a comfortable life, you need to collect enough achievement points from the very first floor when you enter the void to take the trial. Soo-hyun slams a flying dinosaur to the ground. In the silent arena, monster corpses are strewn everywhere. His body still struggles to keep up with their movements. You have passed the first floor's trial. A difficulty level of 10, just as I thought. If I didn't have memories of my past life, I never would have made it through. He felt quite lucky for his knowledge. Thankfully, my combat abilities have also unconsciously returned. With this, Soo-hyun's confidence soared. At this rate, I'll be able to overcome anything. Instantly, a series of reward notifications appeared. You have successfully completed the first trial. This is the reward for the first floor difficulty level 10. 10 achievement points, 30 achievement points, 150 achievement points, 300 achievement points, 1,000 achievement points. All stats increased by 5. Mana stat increased by 2. Mana tier increased by 1. Updating your rank. Current rank 1. Soo-hyun was a little surprised by this pile of points. I'll admit, for level 10, the rewards are incredibly generous. Compared to my past self, my current stats have grown significantly faster. Achievement points 2,230. For a moment, he froze silently, staring at the system window. That was the total number of points he had earned. This should be enough for me to climb to the next floor. Right, achievement points 2,230. Returning to the present, he felt satisfied. All right. The more he looked at this pile of achievement points, the more pleased he felt. Time to go buy some things. Soo-hyun walked up to a sign. The first book I need. Without a second thought, he stepped into the shop. Seeing a customer, the shopkeeper cheerfully called out, "Oh my, welcome." She gracefully approached the reception counter, a professional smile on her face as she looked at him. "You must be new here, kiddo." This woman had long pointed ears, unlike a normal human. "I'm the dark elf merchant Belly. Just tell me what you want." "If you're not looking for anything in particular, let me show you a few things, sweetie." Soo-hyun glanced over, sizing up the woman. Merchant Belly, wasn't it? The way she lures customers into spending money is exactly the same as before. "Sorry, but it's useless on me. I've already decided what I want to buy." He stated, "The skill leap." His words made Belly's body stiffen, "And I need the skill transference." The woman let out a long sigh. "Seriously, who did you hear about that from?" Her expression grew interested in his request. "But can you even afford it? Leap is 150 points and transference is 1,000. Soo-hyun replied with a confident, unabashed smile. He placed his hand on the table generously. "Let's make the exchange. You have paid 1,150 points." The girl Belly couldn't help but slam the table and shout at him. "What the hell? Where did you get all these points? What kind of trick did you pull?" Soo-hyun was a bit confused. "I don't think I miscalculated." The woman was extremely agitated. "Weird. That's not what I meant." She truly couldn't believe a newcomer had so many points. No one has ever received more than 1,000 points on the first floor before. "Are you really new to the second floor?" His eyebrow twitched slightly. He answered calmly, "Of course. I'm just a regular customer who just arrived." With the exchange complete, Soo-hyun had no reason to stay and left immediately. Here on the second floor, the space looked like something out of a fantasy movie. He went outside to check the items in his spatial bag. "Let's see what I've got." A spatial bag is usually used to store items. In a flash, Soo-hyun had bought a pile of things. A short sword, bandages, medicine. I also bought food. Looks like I'm not missing anything. Another skill has been added. Above it are the 2 skills he just exchanged for. Every skill and awakened. Use requires a certain mana level to activate. Leap, mana level 2. Proficiency 0. You can perform an additional jump in mid-air. The height and number of uses will increase as proficiency rises. Transference, mana level 2, level 1, you have the ability to simulate the physical attributes of a specific target. Depending on the skill level, the ability to simulate the target can be enhanced or changed to a different target. Active skill. It will become stronger as proficiency increases. Besides that, some skills grow stronger based on their level instead of proficiency. Soo-hyun was familiar with these 2 essential skills. They belong to the growth type skill category, a type that's very difficult to obtain. Transference. Mana level 2. Level 1. You have the ability to simulate the physical attributes of a specific target. Depending on the skill level, the ability to simulate the target can be enhanced or changed to a different target. However, there is one such skill that can be bought in shops. In the Tower of Trials, and that is the transference skill. He took out a vial of purple liquid. Something just as important is using this mana catalyst potion. This is something you bought. Its use isn't that great. A low-grade mana catalyst. No. A mana catalyst diluted with water. It helps amplify both the amount and level of mana. Based on the user's current ability, this isn't too hard to buy in an item shop. A mana catalyst is an item that helps significantly increase the user's mana. Without needing to climb the tower or conquer dungeons, you can find them in regular reward shops once the trial phase ends. Soo-hyun was lost in his own thoughts. People rarely come across these reward shops because most are focused on climbing to higher floors. But if you take a little time to look, you can find a lot of rare hidden items here. He stared blankly at the potion. Among them, the mana catalyst is considered the most useful item thanks to its ability to increase mana. Especially in the early stages, even though it tastes absolutely awful. He mused, it's definitely lucky that in this situation I still have my past memories. Catalyst conversion. As of now, I believe I'm the only one who knows this information. His hand was still unconsciously clutching the low-grade mana potion. After using these things, someone suddenly approached and called out softly, "Excuse me for a moment." Soo-hyun jumped, looking over at the person warily. "What is it?" I couldn't sense his presence. "Who is he?" It was a red-haired young man giving a reassuring, sheepish smile. "Ah, did I startle you? I didn't mean to." Looking closely at his face made Soo-hyun freeze. "You're..." A memory surfaced of a man holding a sword. Standing on a pile of corpses, his eyes filled with a murderous aura. It was deeply etched into Soo-hyun's memory. He could never mistake that face. Choi Hak-jun, this red-haired young man he just met. He also appeared in my past life. Choi Hak-jun. He was once a promising awakened prospect in the void. An ear-splitting scream cut through the silence. However, in the not-so-distant future, that prospect, the one with this innocent face, would become a terrifying figure, the very culprit behind the mass slaughter of a major guild's members. His murderous face flashed through Soo-hyun's memory, but Hak-jun didn't get a response, just a stare. Finally, he scratched his face awkwardly and spoke up. "Is there something on my face? You keep staring." Only then did Soo-hyun realize his gaffe. "No, I was just a little surprised." He snapped out of his reverie. Back then, he looked much more bloodthirsty. "Anyway, was there something you wanted to talk to me about?" The man honestly stated his purpose. "Actually, I've been following you since you left the shop. It seems like you bought a lot of things, and you look like a pro, too." Soo-hyun's hand resting on his lap tightened slightly. "Why was he following me?" Just then, Hak-jun started to make his proposal. So, these vague words. Bishay made him suddenly tense up in anticipation. But then, with a face as innocent as a golden retriever's, the man beamed. "Do you want to form a party with me?" Soo-hyun never expected this. "Sorry. What did you say?" A moment later, he began climbing the tower again. Floor 2, difficulty level 10. The trial will begin now. You have just obtained the treasure of the Corpse Tribe. The wrath of the Corpse Tribe is now directed at you. They will do everything they can to reclaim their treasure. Take the treasure and run, and find a way to survive the forest. Bipedal lizards sniffed the air around them. They all held weapon spears and swords as they searched around a large tree trunk. From high above, Soo-hyun stood cautiously, not making a single sound. Finally, seeing nothing, the lizards split up and moved off in different directions. He held his breath, scanning the area below. The Corpse Tribe. They're a species that excels at tracking their prey, and they want me to escape from them. Isn't that asking a bit too much? And the item for this game was in his hand. What kind of treasure is part of such a difficult mission? This thing only has a name and nothing else. Treasure of the Corpse Tribe. Besides having to protect it, it has no other special use. However, Soo-hyun had no idea how to complete this level 10 trial. How am I supposed to do this mission? Suddenly, the system's reminder popped into his head. And try to survive in the forest. His expression lit up as an idea struck him. A member of the Corpse Tribe walked past a large tree root, continuing its patrol. Suddenly, Soo-hyun leaped down right in front of it. He pulled a sword from his spatial inventory and charged forward. His skill was as fast as lightning tearing through the air. He took one down instantly. Soo-hyun's face brightened with this idea. Try to survive in this forest. In that case... He grew excited, daring to charge into the enemy horde. I just have to wipe them all out. A Corpse Tribe member shrieked from a tree and leaped down at his head. A single smooth slash of his sword took another one down. You have received 20 achievement points. The skill he had just acquired was already being put to use. Leap. Countless points were added. You have received 20 achievement points. He frowned slightly, regretting his decision a little. I'll probably waste a lot of time dealing with these undead. This would be much easier if I formed a party, but he remembered the Dark Worm's offer back then. From level 5 onwards, the difficulty is on a whole other level. So finding teammates won't be easy. I want to challenge level 8, but is that too high? Soo-hyun's face was a bit blank as he asked back. Does it have to be level 8? His eyes were filled with anticipation, waiting for his answer. However, that wasn't his current goal. Yes, I have my own reasons. I'm sorry, but level 8 is actually too low for the goal I've set. Suddenly, a dark shadow fell upon Soo-hyun's lush green land. A member of the corpse tribe brazenly charged forward riding a large monster. Soo-hyun wasn't too surprised by its appearance. So the boss finally decided to show its face, huh? He used his leap skill to jump high into the air. Leap. His power was now comparable to the boss's. It's time to kick the one in charge off its throne. A single slash turned into multiple strikes, cutting it into pieces. In the end, the second floor was cleared in an instant. Reward for the second floor of the Tower of Trials. The hidden ability of the Corpse Tribe's treasure has been revealed. Corpse Tribe's treasure removes all wounds and negative effects from its user. Uses remaining 5 out of 5. Soo-hyun sat by the fire, speechless at the necklace. I wasn't expecting much from the reward, but to get a special item like this. It was definitely the right choice to eliminate them instead of running away. The information panel displayed his current stats. Status window, name Kim Soo-hyun, mana 18, mana level 3, strength 34, agility 31, stamina 31, reflex 37, fatigue 81, skill leap details, skill transmute 1 details. Just like that, my stats are increasing faster than before. Also, the new skill was used effectively. Transmute. Mana level 2, level 1. You have the ability to simulate the physical constitution of a specific target depending on the skill level. The target simulation can be enhanced or changed to another target. With Transmute, I can now learn the boss's characteristics. Soo-hyun acquired the characteristics of the boss he killed. Characteristic Corpse Tribe Boss's Rage, a skill that enhances physical abilities for a certain period of time. It's based on the user's fatigue strength and the amount of damage on their body. This will be very useful later on if I find myself in an emergency. There. A tiring day passed with many other rewards. This battle took a lot of effort, but I got a lot out of it. If I keep up this pace, then... Suddenly a sound rang out, startling Soo-hyun. Turns out it was a system notification about his current fatigue level. Fatigue 81. He had no choice but to open a portal and leave this place. I'll leave this forest first and figure things out later. Soo-hyun opened a portal directly back to his current home. However, what he saw before him made a confused expression appear on his face. Before him was a table overflowing with food. The fragrant aroma and rising steam filled the air. He couldn't help but feel strangely flustered. Mom, what's all this? Mrs. Asahi placed another dish on the table. This is the least I can do to thank you for saving my life. You've been working so hard, son. Hearing this, her son lowered his head and was silent for a moment. You're the one who must be more tired. You were injured like that yesterday, and you still went to work. Soo-hyun's mother smiled gently and caringly. I'm fine. How could I be tired when I'm making food for my own son? These loving words struck his mind, leaving him with a stunned expression. In the end, he couldn't say a word and just looked down at the table of food. Soo-hyun quietly pulled out a chair. He sat down in his only chair. The scent of hot rice and soup filled his nostrils. He scooped up a spoonful of pristine white rice and put it in his mouth. The soft, fragrant grains of cooked rice tumbled around as he chewed. A pang of sorrow suddenly welled up inside Soo-hyun. Thank you, Mom. He suddenly bowed his head, holding back the bitter tears welling in the corners of his eyes. He didn't dare tell the truth to the mother who loved her son so dearly. Even though I'll never be your real son. Her expression was a little dazed as she looked at her son. Oh my. She chuckled, watching Soo-hyun eat with gusto. You must be starving, huh? Unaware of his promise. I promise I'll protect you until the very end. Very quickly, a piece of news spread like wildfire online. Good heavens, a single headline dominated the online news. Tower of Trials, second floor, top rank, Kim Soo-hyun, with 2,230 points. Everyone was in a disbelieving uproar. The number one ranked person. How many points did the last one get? I think it was only 940. That sounds like bullshit. Are you kidding me? It's not a joke. I already verified it. Who is it? The rankings have changed a bit this time. Who is it really? Who is that person? Soo-hyun broke out in a sweat, staring at the bright computer screen in front of him. He could only utter two words, holy shit. A ton of comments kept popping up in the discussion. 2,197. How many points do you guys think user Kim Soo-hyun has? 2,230 points. Is that even possible? 2,196. I smell bullshit. 2,195. Hey, is this for real? How many points do you bros have? 2,194. Is this a general community page or a Kim Soo-hyun fan page? 2,193. LOL. This is fucking insane. 2,192. Korea has reached a whole new level. I'm so proud. Model. 2,191. Right now, he's number one in the world. That's worthy of praise. 2,190. Holy crap, isn't he just the best? 2,189. I've seen him. 2,188. I heard his gear is pretty average, too. You're speechless. This is getting complicated. Soo-hyun's hands resting on the keyboard trembled for a moment before freezing. His face went blank, stunned by the scene before him. On the screen was an image from a website for the awakened. Only one headline stood out: the number one ranked player on the second floor of the Tower of Trials. With 2,230 points, Kim Soo-hyun. People couldn't stop the curious chatter. How many points did the last number one have? I think it was only 940. That sounds insane. Are you kidding me? It's not a joke. I double-checked. Who is it? The rankings have changed a bit this time. Who is it really? Who is that person? Soo-hyun stood before the screen, speechless and frozen for a long time. Suddenly, someone exclaimed, sealing his fate, as everyone scrambled to snatch this person for their own guild. He leaned back in his chair and let out a sigh. Damn, this is getting more and more out of hand. That night, somewhere in Gangnam, Seoul, in a building serving as the Aries Guild headquarters, Hakjun was asked a question and turned puzzled. Who, Kim Soo-hyun? That new guy who's ranked number one now, what about him? A middle-aged man with a thick beard scrolling on his phone spoke up. It seems he became an awakened around the same time as you. Do you know anything about him? His voice, deep and full of interest, rang out. Without answering, he put a hand behind his neck and sighed. Who knows? I don't think we've ever crossed paths. After all, the tower isn't exactly small. The older man walked over and placed a hand on Hakjun's shoulder. That's how it is. The man asked about his progress in the tower. And the third floor assault, is it going well? I know you're at level 8, much higher than most, but leaving too early isn't good either. His words made Hakjun's gaze turn thoughtful. Besides a worthy rival for you, Kim Soo-hyun has appeared. Hakjun gave a slight smirk, lowering his head to hide his expression. I've been trying to find some level 8s to form a party, but there aren't many. If there's no one, I guess I'll just have to go alone. Hearing this, the middle-aged man smiled, quietly satisfied. He turned and went back to his seat. All right, I'll try to find someone for you. Just focus on climbing the tower. His deep, husky voice was profound. And then, he slowly turned his head back, his voice carrying an implicit warning. You know what you have to do. Right. A final reminder that Hakjun was forced to obey. Report back to me in a week. And if you can, defeat that Kim Soo-hyun guy. He walked slowly down the empty hallway. That bastard. The name mentioned in their conversation was completely unfamiliar to Hakjun, Kim Soo-hyun. Suddenly, a memory of a confusing situation flashed in his mind. Hakjun's expression changed as he pictured him. Don't tell me it's that guy. He leaned against the glass door in denial. It can't be him. But if it really is him, what can I even do? My job right now isn't to find Soo-hyun. I just need to focus on my own business. Before long, on Soo-hyun's end, he had already completed the next floor. You have perfectly cleared the trial of the third floor. How long of a break should I take? Immediately after, he cleared another floor in the blink of an eye. Plus 500 points. You have perfectly cleared the trial of the fourth floor. Plus 600 points. He was asking his mom for permission to take a break. I'm not sure how long, Mom. I think I'll just hang around in some suburban area. Just then, he cleared consecutive floors in the tower. You have perfectly cleared the trial of the 5th floor, plus 500 points. You have perfectly cleared the trial of the 6th floor, plus 1,000 points. Despite this, Soo-hyun's mother agreed to his request without hesitation. All right, you must have worked hard studying for your exams. Rest up and come back when you're ready. Meanwhile, another floor was cleared with ease. You have perfectly cleared the trial of the 9th floor. Soo-hyun, wearing a backpack full of travel gear, set off. I'll call you often. His face had clearly matured. Okay, Mom, I'm leaving. It was now 1 year later, Saturday, December 2022. A high-speed train flashed by on the tracks like lightning. Soo-hyun stood on a pedestrian overpass, remarking to himself, I thought time would fly by. It's already been a year. The promotion test is coming up soon. I'm a little worried about it, but luckily I've already cleared the 9th floor. As he walked, he felt a sense of curiosity. Next up is the 10th floor. This one is going to take a lot more time. I don't know exactly how long this will take, so using it as an excuse for a break makes sense too. Clearing the Tower of Trials is just as important for the Awakened. The trial on the 10th floor is one of the most critical milestones they have to overcome. The difficulty of the trials increases significantly every 10 floors. For example, the 11th or 12th floors are much easier than the 10th. Even so, the challenges are becoming more and more grueling. Most of the Awakened choose to challenge it at a level 1 or 2 lower, but doing that will only make things more difficult later on. Soo-hyun's hand at his side unconsciously clenched into a fist. He couldn't bring himself to give up and leave it to fate just to avoid falling into that trap. I have to become stronger than I am now. He had a clear grasp of future events. The Blue Dungeon will appear in Anhyang in 1 year. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. Time to make them tremble in fear. However, some things are unavoidable. There are so many things I have to change, like the accident on January 1st. Suddenly, a reflection of light made Soo-hyun raise his hand to shield his eyes. The sunlight seemed to illuminate his path forward. I will change the future. He had to force himself to try harder. This time, I'll definitely be able to protect everyone. Today, Soo-hyun arrived before the entrance gate to the Tower of Trials. The old man lying by the entrance to the 10th floor noticed him approaching. You want to enter the 10th floor, huh? He held out his hand, his tone flat. I won't stop you, but before you go in, could you spare 1 coin? The gatekeeper of the Tower of Trials' 10th floor. Soo-hyun already knew this. He simply held out his hand. Most people would assume the old man was a beggar and ignore him, but he plays a very important role. A light flashed between their hands. You have spent 5,000 achievement points. The gatekeeper looked back at him, surprised. Usually people just ignore me and walk right past. But you gave me this much. His tone was matter of fact. You deserve it. The old man chuckled softly. He understands the law of equivalent exchange. Thank you. Very well. What is it you wish to know? Unexpectedly, Soo-hyun asked for something else information about the 10th floor. The surprised gatekeeper scratched his head, looking troubled. Information on the 10th floor is quite rare. But since you've given me so much, I suppose I should repay the favor. His tone suddenly grew grim as he warned, be careful of the village chief. Soo-hyun was a little surprised. All those points for just 1 sentence. That's it. The old man confirmed, that's it. Even so, Soo-hyun still felt he could trust the gatekeeper. It's a bit vague, but information from the gatekeeper is never wrong. I think that's enough. As Soo-hyun stepped through the gate, the old man offered a final blessing. Well then, take care. The moment he stepped inside, he was in a dark space devoid of any light or wind. As always, the system began its announcement. Awakened Kim Soo-hyun, welcome to the trial of the 10th floor. Please select a difficulty. Soo-hyun closed his eyes and took a deep breath. Steeling himself, he opened his eyes and confidently declared a number. Level 10. He was now standing on a cliff overlooking a village shrouded in mist. 10th floor trial level 10 begins. The system announced the conditions for clearing the floor. To clear the trial, find the target and do not die. Tower of Trials. Difficulty 10. Meanwhile, in a lush green forest, a small hand was picking ripe wild berries. The little girl's eyes sparkled at the sight of the food, and she cheered. What a lucky day. I can't believe I filled my whole basket today. Is my luck finally turning around? Since I have so many, I guess I can taste one. Ah, The little girl sat on a branch, opening her mouth to enjoy the sweet fruit she'd just picked. Suddenly, her expression changed. Before her, a giant green lizard was crawling down from a high branch. The berry dropped from her hand in terror. A moment later, a piercing scream echoed through the area. The little girl ran from the monster, crying and screaming for help. "Ah, Mommy, somebody help me!" The tiny figure tried to run as fast as she could, but the giant monster quickly closed the distance. Despair flickered in her eyes. Suddenly, someone appeared and snatched her up. "Hold on tight," Soo-hyun warned. The system displayed trait transformation. Berserk maximizes physical strength based on HP consumed. The two of them, one small and one large, launched into the air, dodging the monster's attack. His eyes glowing, he unleashed a slash at the creature. The monster was sent flying, blood spraying from its body. The system announced, "You have defeated the giant salamander." After the terrifying ordeal, the little girl was covered in a cold sweat, her face pale and dazed. Soo-hyun asked with concern, "Hey, are you okay?" Later in the village, as dark clouds gathered at dusk, Soo-hyun stood with a helpless expression. "Look, I'm not a kidnapper. I'm just a passerby who saw her in trouble and saved her." But the family member coldly slammed the door. The woman inside responded fearfully. "Even if that's true, I know you have ulterior motives. Taking her hostage won't do you any good. You won't get anything from our village. So just leave." Hearing this, Soo-hyun was left even more speechless and bewildered. Excuse me, but I think there's been some kind of misunderstanding." But the person inside the house remained silent. Soo-hyun turned away, scratching his head in frustration. To suddenly be labeled a kidnapper, what a pain. I didn't even do anything. And with that, he turned and walked away from there. Meanwhile, the little girl who was saved earlier was peeking at him through the window, biting her lip nervously. Over here, as Soo-hyun was walking, he received a notification from the system. "You have arrived at a strange village. Help the village escape its crisis and survive." After hearing the mission, he grumbled to himself. "The atmosphere is already gloomy, and on top of that, the villagers are treating me with hostility. This place is completely different from the other floors. After all, this is floor 10. Anyway, save the village and survive. Is there something hidden behind that? Where should I go to gather information?" Then behind Soo-hyun, from the dark corners, several pairs of bright eyes were staring intently at him. He noticed he was being followed, and his expression soured. Those people, they probably aren't a viable option. The villagers living in the tower, although set up like NPCs, are identical to real humans in both intellect and emotion. It's as if they weren't created from programming. The way the villagers treat a stranger, this hostile mood, and this whole atmosphere, it really reminds me of that time. That's right. This is it. Soo-hyun looked up at the sky, at the scene of a world about to reach its end. Soo-hyun gritted his teeth, turning back with anger. "Even though I've never experienced it, those bastards still managed to create this scene." Later, the scene changes to under a tree. Soo-hyun sat down, letting out a sigh. I need to meet an informant to figure out a solution, but I haven't seen so much as an ant so far." Suddenly, a pair of tiny feet appeared, and a voice called out, "Mister!" Soo-hyun looked up in surprise. It was the little girl he had saved. She was timidly hiding half her body behind the tree, looking at him nervously. He exclaimed, "It's the little girl from before. Hello there." The girl clasped her hands together. Soo-hyun looked at her surprised. After that, suddenly a few small round things fell into his hand. It turned out to be a few ripe wild berries. The little girl was sweating even more. She managed to force out a few words. "Thank you." Soo-hyun looked momentarily stunned. Then he smiled warmly and took out a bag, calling, "Hey, can you come here for a second?" From the bag, Soo-hyun took out countless delicious-smelling delicacies. The little girl's eyes lit up and her mouth began to water uncontrollably. Food! A moment later, the little girl was eating with immense joy. As she ate, her face lit up with a slightly exaggerated expression. This is so yummy." Soo-hyun watched her with a bewildered look. Is it really that good?" Then he changed the subject. "Is food usually scarce for everyone in the village?" The little girl immediately replied, "That's right. Everyone is so hostile because they don't want to waste food on a stranger." Soo-hyun guessed, I suppose the villagers have gone through some hard times. The little girl smiled cheerfully and said, "At least we've managed to hold on thanks to the village chief." "The village chief is the hero of this village," he exclaimed in surprise. "A hero!" The little girl continued, still eating as she spoke. That's what my dad told me. He spent his whole life protecting the village so everyone trusts and helps him. Soo-hyun looked away. Oh, I see. The little girl looked at him with a questioning gaze. Soo-hyun said, It's nothing. I was just talking to myself. The little girl asked again, Mister, why did you come to our village? He gave an awkward laugh and explained, I just want to know what I can do to help this village, like giving the food I have to the village chief, or maybe dealing with the monsters around the village. You know, like those scary monsters you saw earlier. You never know when they might attack the village. But, the little girl said, those monsters can't get into the village. The moment they see the village chief, they run away. Hearing this, Soo-hyun's expression turned serious and cold. Hey, little one, tell me more. Just then, two people appeared, one old and one young. You're the outsider visiting our village, aren't you? The old man stepped forward with a friendly smile. It's a pleasure to meet you. I am the chief of this village. Soo-hyun's eyes were full of vigilance as he looked at the man. This person is the village chief. He remembered the Tower Guardian's warning for the Floor 10 trial. Be careful of that village chief. Meanwhile, the old village chief, still wearing that sinister smile, continued. It's unpleasant to have to say this right after we've met, but food is extremely precious in this village. Giving it away so freely will cause discord. So as the village chief, I would be very grateful if you would keep that food for yourself and not distribute it recklessly without my permission. He warned Soo-hyun. Soo-hyun frowned at him. The chief continued, I would also appreciate it if you could refrain from bothering this little girl without my permission. Melly was now sweating buckets from the tension. Soo-hyun asked cautiously, You're the village chief, right? I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. The village chief went, and you are? Soo-hyun continued, I'm just a wanderer traveling all over who happened to pass by this village. I was hoping I could stay here for a few days. Would you be willing to allow it? The young man walking behind him was about to say something. The village chief seemed lost in thought. I apologize, but this small village is quite wary of strangers. Soo-hyun frowned. So that's what this was about. A precaution. The chief then turned to Melly, his expression dark as he questioned her. Child, didn't I tell you not to accept food from strangers? The little girl trembled in fear. I'm sorry. Suddenly, Soo-hyun placed a hand on Melly's head, patting it gently to reassure her. He smiled and said, Everything's all right. Don't worry about it. Melly looked up at him, her fear subsiding as she managed a small smile. Soo-hyun then stood up straight. I was simply sharing some of my food. It's not going to harm your village in any way. He immediately tossed a large bag onto the ground, a spatial bag. He then added, and I have plenty more to share. The young man with the chief looked inside and exclaimed in shock, Chief, it's food. So much food. Soo-hyun pressed his case. If you give me a place to stay, I can provide enough food for everyone here for as long as I stay. If that's still not enough, then... Soo-hyun was about to add another condition, but the village chief cut him off. No, that will be sufficient. He turned to leave. Follow me. I'll let you use an empty house for now. As he spoke, a sinister smile spread across his face. After they had walked a short distance, Soo-hyun heard a loud shout ring out. Almighty God, please have mercy on these lost little lambs. Soo-hyun looked toward the sound, curious. So this is where everyone is. The voice continued, Please use your noble blood to wash away all of our filthy sins. Watching the villagers clasp their hands in prayer, Soo-hyun thought in confusion. Some kind of religious cult, huh? The data shows how many times they've tried this. It's not surprising that people would worship some perfect supernatural being. Then his expression turned serious. I've definitely seen this kind of thing many times before. When people are faced with disasters, desperation drives people to do anything. Some use the name of a god, and to justify erasing everything and committing inhumane acts. Soo-hyun gritted his teeth in anger. Back then, no one survived in the end. This is nothing compared to that. At least they aren't hurting anyone else, or so he thought. Suddenly, Soo-hyun froze, his face filled with shock at what he saw. Up ahead, a person held a knife high in the air, shouting, Offer up your filthy soul, tainted by the dust of this world, as a sacrifice to our God. Please, I beg you save this sullied soul. Rest in peace. With those final words, the person swung the knife down, severing a rope. A bound figure hanging from it was instantly dropped into a pit below the floor. A blood-curdling scream echoed out, but it was quickly silenced as the cover to the pit slammed shut. Soo-hyun clapped a hand over his mouth, horrified by the cruel sacrifice. This place is no different. Selfishness never changes. A few other villagers began to murmur amongst themselves. How unfortunate for the Miller family. True, but there's nothing we can do. It's a sacrifice for the greater good of the village. We should be grateful to the chief. He uses the power of the earth god to protect us. Without him, this place would surely be a wasteland. But we have to offer another human sacrifice in 3 days. What if one of us is chosen? We don't need to worry about that just yet. After all, only one person will be left in the end. Their glowing blood-red eyes were fixed on him, a truly haunting and terrifying sight. Later, the old village chief was sitting at his desk. Someone entered to give a report. Today's ceremony was a great success. Chief, we must quickly choose the sacrifice for the ceremony in 3 days. After listening, the chief mused. And what of the outsider? The subordinate replied. He hasn't done anything suspicious. I assume you're letting him stay to prepare him as the next sacrifice. The gods clearly brought him here for that purpose. We just need to make him fall asleep. With this divine potion, then during the ceremony, we will cast him into the earth. Our village is constantly threatened by outside dangers. A sacrifice for the greater good is unavoidable. A sinister expression crept onto the old chief's face as he spoke. Isn't it worth it to save one more of our own? The legend says that one day, a man-eating serpent emerged from its nest beneath this very village. Luckily, while trespassing on another's territory, the serpent accidentally awakened a different monster. Because of that other monster's appearance, our village was kept safe from all the dangers lurking outside. The terrifying part is that the monsters outside are always trying to attack. As a result, the villagers fell into a state of panic. As the village chief, what else could I do? The chief's face remained impassive. Countless villagers have become sacrifices, but I feel not a single shred of guilt. It was the only thing I could do. The only way to become their hero. 3 days passed quickly. 2 figures in red hooded cloaks, their faces obscured, held blazing torches. Soo-hyun, unconscious, was carried in by another cloaked person. He was placed on the same spot where the last sacrifice had been. Soo-hyun was still unconscious. The old chief stood over him and spoke. Forget we ever existed, outsider. He placed the knife against the rope, his eyes filled with malice as he justified his actions. This is all for the greater good of the village. With a single slice, the rope was cut, and Soo-hyun's body plummeted into the darkness below. The figures of the villagers grew smaller and smaller until the encroaching darkness swallowed everything. It was a terrifying sight. Moments later, at the bottom of the pit, the massive body of a giant serpent came into view, coiled upon itself. It was surrounded by countless pristine white eggs. It opened its mouth wide, revealing sharp, venomous fangs. After a moment of darkness, someone entered the pit. It was none other than the old village chief. Holding a torch, he stepped inside, thinking to himself, "It's been a full day since I threw that outsider in here. He must have been completely digested by now. There won't be a single trace of him left in this territory. Let's see. Weren't there rumors that the monster tried to break in from the north gate? I'd better mark this monster's lairs." While he was calculating, the old man suddenly froze, his face filled with shock and astonishment as he stared ahead. Soo-hyun, with a cold expression, turned back and uttered, "Oh, what wind blew you here, esteemed village chief?" The scene before him was the snake chopped into several pieces. Soo-hyun stood in the middle of it all, his body covered in blood. The old village chief's expression was one of utter shock and disbelief. Looking ahead, Soo-hyun was turning back with a grim face. "Oh, why have you come here?" The village chief saw him standing amidst the corpse of the giant snake which he had chopped into many pieces. The old chief trembled, sweat pouring down like rain. How could a mere human possibly do something like this? This monster. You're the one who took it down. This is insane. His hand trembled. Soo-hyun remained silent for a long moment, as if in thought. Then he let out a chilling aura and a cold laugh. How ridiculous. You're talking as if this monster couldn't possibly be killed. The old man flinched, trying to find an excuse. Ah, well, Then the village chief gritted his teeth, looking deeply resentful. He shouted it was all for the good of the village. If this snake didn't make its nest here, other monsters would come and destroy our village. Soo-hyun coldly questioned back. You say everything was for the common good of the village. With absolutely no benefit for yourself, I presume. These words made him break out in a cold sweat, unable to answer for a moment. Soo-hyun turned toward the snake and continued. This beast's name is the assassin snake. Besides eating people, it spends most of its time sleeping, resting, and just lazing around. Because it makes its nest and marks its territory here before leaving. All weaker monsters would never dare to come near, which means you came here regularly to feed it. And another one of its traits is that this type of monster never eats the person who raises it. The village chief flinched again. Having been exposed, Soo-hyun walked towards him. I'm guessing you knew all about these traits. And you used that to paint yourself as a hero, all while feeding the villagers to this beast. The village chief's eyes widened in horror, cold sweat pouring down his face. Soo-hyun walked past him and headed out. But from this moment on, your hypocritical mask has been torn off. The village chief collapsed to his knees in despair before the snake's corpse. A while later, a crowd of villagers looked on with shocked and horrified expressions at the snake's head that Soo-hyun had brought out. Gasps rang out. Is it really true the village chief deceived us? That's just unbelievable. It has to be fake news, but that monster. I thought it was taken as a sacrifice to the earth god. A woman gritted her teeth in anguish and hissed. So my husband, who always trusted and supported that village chief, was fed to this monster. What? The person next to her tried to comfort her. It can't be true. How could he do something so despicable? The other villagers also hung their heads in the face of this truth. It's shocking to learn that our respected village chief deceived us secretly, turning us into monster feed. But no matter what the truth is, we were only able to avoid other monsters because of this snake. Then they shouted, questioning Soo-hyun. So what now? You killed the snake. What about us? He calmly reassured them. I can help you all. This made them look at him stunned. What? Soo-hyun knelt down and continued. There are some things I have to show you. He brought the snake eggs out from the cellar. The people were bewildered. What? What are these? Soo-hyun explained. As you can see, these are snake eggs, the eggs of that monster. Hearing this, the villagers' faces turned pale, as if they were struck dumb. Soo-hyun continued. I know what you're about to say, but please hear me out first. Do you all still remember what I said? An assassin snake will never see its caretaker as prey right. You can use this trait to tame the baby snakes. After hearing this, they became even more terrified, cold sweat breaking out non-stop. Soo-hyun calmly reassured them. Don't worry, because none of you will need to be sacrificed. And fed to them like before. A villager asked, So, what should we do? He immediately replied, Take care of these little beasts. They were confused and shocked. Beasts. You're telling us to go hunt monsters to feed these snakes, so who's going to hunt the monsters? Soo-hyun said, For now, I'll handle it. But I'm just an outsider, and sooner or later I'll be leaving this place. After I'm gone, you'll have to solve this problem yourselves. They cried out in alarm. What? One man yelled, What good will that do? From what I'm hearing, you're suggesting that we farmers use a few lousy hoes and shovels to hunt monsters. Seeing their expressions, Soo-hyun casually said, Oh my, isn't this your village? If it's not you, then who will step up to protect it? Someone was about to argue. It's easy for you to say, when Soo-hyun, gradually losing his patience, radiated a cold, murderous aura. Forget it. Just drop this idea. And then what? Go back to throwing people to it as bait. His tone silenced them, leaving them unable to argue. Soo-hyun stared at them with a serious expression. It's unsettling to think about having no desire to protect yourself, trying instead to rely on someone else. People like that will see the person they depend on as a hero. A cowardly hero acknowledged by them. But I have to place my hopes, however meaningless, on those who have lost everything. Their sanity. After thinking for a moment, Soo-hyun sighed helplessly. Is it really that hard? I need to think of a way to solve this problem for good. Suddenly, a voice rang out, startling him. I'll do it! Before him was a little girl, Melly, hiding behind her mother's skirt. Soo-hyun looked over, stunned. You The girl pressed her lips together as if steeling her resolve, then forced a crooked smile. Even though her body was still trembling in fear. I'm not sure I can do it on my own without any help, but I want to become strong so I can protect my village. Soo-hyun's expression softened. He looked down for a moment, then broke into a satisfied smile of praise. You're a truly amazing kid. He leaned down closer to the girl, persuading her, if we can gather everyone's strength, then we can definitely protect this village. Melly cheered happily. Really? I'll do my best. Melly's eyes sparkled with hope. Soo-hyun then turned to the villagers who were breaking out in another cold sweat. Even a child is willing to participate. Then a man also spoke up. We'll do our best. It's much better than sitting here and waiting for a painful, horrible death. This determination seemed to startle everyone for a moment. But like a chain reaction, the others courageously shouted out after him. Me too. I'll do my best. I'll give it a shot. One by one, the villagers bowed before Soo-hyun, admitting their fault. We were too weak and cowardly. Even after everything we've witnessed, we just accepted that cruel fate without doing a thing. At least until you came here. Will you teach us how to hunt and kill the monsters? Aru-san. At that very moment, a system window appeared before Soo-hyun. The villagers have regained their sanity. Success rate, 60%. Soo-hyun smiled and let out a sigh of relief. He turned towards the forest. All right then. Now we officially begin. The scene changes to an underground cellar. Someone walks down the stairs as a voice echoes, "That arrogant brat." He has absolutely no sense of his place or the respect he owes me. It was the old village chief descending to where another monster was kept. This bird-like monster, upon sensing someone's approach, suddenly shot its eyes open. Before it stood the village chief holding an oil lamp, his expression sinister and twisted. He hissed, "I will set all of you free." Meanwhile, outside, the sky was covered in a layer of dark, gloomy clouds. A bird monster had been captured and tied up by the villagers. They panted as they spoke. Got it. We'll keep them in the underground part of the village, and then we'll all take turns feeding them. If we do that, then we won't be eaten by them anymore, right? Nearby. Soo-hyun was single-handedly dealing with a giant worm monster. They marveled, that outsider kid is truly incredible. The giant worm monster opened its maw, revealing sharp fangs. Its tail slammed hard against the ground, creating a thick cloud of dust. Soo-hyun gritted his teeth and swung his sword. A glint flashed in his eyes as he poured everything he had into this attack. Soo-hyun successfully pierced through the monster, splitting it clean in two. A villager shouted, "Excuse me, young outsider, we should stop the hunt here for today. The sun is about to set. Don't overwork yourself. Let's head back." Soo-hyun looked down and replied, "Yeah, I'll return to the village as soon as I finish this monster off." Suddenly, he received another system notification. Trial Tower, 10th floor, 90% complete. Soo-hyun jumped off the monster, silently calculating, "These newborn snakes sure grow fast. The experience bar will be full soon. And that missing village chief. Is he causing trouble somewhere? I need to figure everything out once this experience bar hits 100%. He mumbled, "Am I forgetting something?" Suddenly, the ground beneath Soo-hyun's feet began to shake. A second later, the tremors grew stronger, as if trying to topple him. Soo-hyun was stunned by this development. Before he could even regain his composure, some kind of power erupted in front of him. Bursting forth from the earth, a phoenix-like monster soared into the air. It flapped its wings, launching its feathers downward to attack the only hunter who could threaten those young snakes. A blue phoenix. The blue phoenix opened its great beak, power radiating from it. Soo-hyun looked up and gave a tired grin. Aha, so this was his doing. The streams of power from the blue phoenix lifted large boulders into the air. From a corner, the village chief laughed triumphantly. He spread his arms and shouted, "Behold!" The majestic, powerful appearance of the phoenix is a fitting reward for putting it to sleep with tranquilizers of this level. The villagers will have to treat me like a great hero again. I will be the village chief who can command this monster. The blue phoenix seemed to understand the old man's words. It glared down menacingly, forcing the village chief to switch to a strained smile and explain, Yes, that's right. I am the one who awakened you. From now on, you must treat me as your master. But before he could finish his sentence, the blue phoenix blasted him with a stream of blue fire. It burned him before disappearing completely. The village chief tried to question why this can't be happening. And just like that, he was incinerated by the blue flames. Not a single piece was left. Soo-hyun braced himself against that power, gritting his teeth in worry. This destructive energy, the village is in that direction. He looked in horror at the blue phoenix's flight path. Soo-hyun immediately gritted his teeth and chased after it at an incredible speed. He shouted as he ran, struggling to get enough leverage to jump. Soo-hyun leaped over obstacles. He used his jump skill, launching himself in front of the blue phoenix. A glint appeared in Soo-hyun's eyes as he swung his sword, but the monster dodged the attack. He realized in confusion that he couldn't even touch it right now. With a vicious look in its eyes, the blue phoenix dove at him. Soo-hyun panicked, unable to dodge. It simply stomped on him with its talons, sending his body into a free fall through the air. He coughed up a mouthful of fresh blood from the severe injury. His eyes turned toward the village with worry. No, they were just about to start their lives over. Then a coil of rope fell from his person. He gritted his teeth, enduring the pain. Down below, 2 villagers looked around. Is that outsider still chasing it? Then they walked on laughing and remarking, he hasn't slept in days. He's incredible, ha ha ha, must be the energy of youth. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun was still in freefall as the 2 villagers continued to joke. If I were that talented, I'd be flying and jumping all over the place just like him when I was young. Monsters like that. Soo-hyun landed on a pillar. He gathered his strength and leaped powerfully. At that moment, the 2 villagers sensed something. Turning to look behind them, they saw the blue phoenix diving down ferociously. Its eyes were wide, looking down with contempt. The 2 men's expressions turned to stunned horror. After reacting, they both whimpered their mouths, twitching. Then a blood-curdling scream erupted as if it would shatter the very air. The blue phoenix gathered power in its beak. Suddenly, a knife tied to a rope shot through the air. The rope wrapped around the blue phoenix's beak, binding it shut. Soo-hyun was leaping down. His hand controlled the rope. If there's something I can't reach, I just have to force myself to do it. The knife flew with force. The rope wrapped around the monster's entire body. He yelled, I got you, you blue chicken. I'm borrowing your power. With that, he used the transformation skill, which could imitate the physical abilities of a specific target depending on the degree of transformation. The extent to which one can imitate the target can vary. A second later, the blue phoenix erupted with a powerful surge of energy as the scene changed to Soo-hyun's home. At this time, a voice is heard. Yeah, nothing new. Soo-hyun is still the same. After the CSAT exams ended, he said he wanted to travel, so he went to the countryside for a bit. Explanation: CSAT is the university entrance exam in Korea. No, I'm not worried. He'll be fine. Right. That's right. He seems so much more mature lately. Sometimes I feel like he's a different person. She laughed happily while on Soo-hyun's side he was still dealing with the blue phoenix. Its eyes flashed with anger. Soo-hyun gave a cold smirk and cursed, shit. Just as I thought. There's a limit to using the transformation skill. For a power growth type skill, its use depends on the skill's level. The system screen appeared, Transformation Mana Class, to Level 1, can imitate the physical abilities of a specific target. Depending on the degree of transformation, the extent to which one can simulate the target can vary. Soo-hyun grumbled, my level is too low, so this isn't doing anything to it. Immediately, a hand reached down from the sky through the surge of power. Soo-hyun's body was enveloped by the blue power of the phoenix. He gritted his teeth, enduring the unbearable pain. His hand struggled to reach his sword, quickly succeeding in grabbing the hilt. As Soo-hyun's body transformed, it became more terrifying, his 2 eyes glowing brightly as if possessed. The immense power erupted, causing him agony. Damn it, it's so hot. Soo-hyun tried to control himself. No, I can't die here. I still remember the mission the system gave me. Save the endangered village and survive. He held up a necklace, reminding himself, other than the fact that I need to protect it, it has no other use. For a moment, his eyes returned to normal, though his body felt like it was being incinerated. Come on, Soo-hyun. Kim Soo-hyun, you can still fight. After he steeled his resolve, a system notification appeared. Recovery item treasure of the Corpse Clan. Recovers all damage taken. Uses remaining 4 out of 5. After using the ability, Soo-hyun, in his tattered clothes, swung his sword and leaped down. Now die. The sword strike plunged into the blue phoenix's back. It was as if Soo-hyun had poured all his strength into this one move. A shocking explosion erupted from the village. Dust and debris flew everywhere. Afterwards, the blue phoenix was revealed lying flattened in a crater. Beside it, Soo-hyun lay silently. Half of his body was embedded in the ground, but his eyes were still open. A second later, they shut tightly. Sometime later, faint calls could be heard. Mr. Melly looked horrified when she heard Soo-hyun scream. He had been brought back bandaged and treated. He looked as if he had just escaped a nightmare, his expression filled with terror. The villagers quickly surrounded him. He's finally awake. Everyone looked relieved. Thank goodness. Are you feeling any better? Soo-hyun asked in a daze. What happened? Melly, with tears welling up in her eyes, cried out, I thought you were dead, Mr. I even thought you'd been turned into bacon. Soo-hyun, flustered, exclaimed, I passed out. What exactly happened? Oh, my muscles ache. The villagers quickly advised him, It's all right, just lie down. Thanks to you, everything is over now. That beast is dead. There are no more problems. We've already chopped it into pieces, so now we don't have to worry about food for a while. It's all thanks to you. Everyone looked at him with gratitude. Soo-hyun just sat there in a daze as if he wasn't focused. But I still can't believe it. That fire was so huge, I was sure you were a goner. You have a few bruises from falling from that height, but overall, there are no serious injuries. Just what you'd expect from a hero. He's perfect from every angle. The villagers' eyes sparkled as they looked at him. Soo-hyun broke into a cold sweat and replied hastily, I just got lucky. Other than my muscles being a little sore, everything's fine. Suddenly, little Melly rushed forward and hugged him tightly. Soo-hyun silently looked down at the little girl, surprised. The system continuously chimed with notifications. You have received 1,000 points. Fame acquired. You have cleared the Tower of Trials 10th floor mission. 100% completion. You have brilliantly conquered the 10th floor trial. Soo-hyun smiled and let out a sigh of relief. 100% completion. There are no lingering threats left. Now the villagers can live in peace without worrying about being attacked anymore. On another note, my ranking is about to get noisy again. He felt a bit annoyed by the system screen's content. Ranking is being calculated. You are currently ranked number 1. Suddenly, the villagers began to express their gratitude again. He looked up, startled. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. You're our savior. We will never forget this. Everyone in the village was genuinely grateful to him. Soo-hyun, with a bewildered look, blurted out, Savior! Scene change to some time later. Soo-hyun decides to leave in silence. A pure white gate appears. Just as he was about to step in, a voice called out, Mister, are you leaving already? Soo-hyun jumped and turned around. Shoot, I've been spotted. Little Melly ran out, asking, Mister, why are you leaving without telling anyone? And what is that? Soo-hyun hesitated, not knowing how to explain. You see, this is... Melly looked tense. Are you going to save another village? He answered vaguely, something like that. Then he thought to himself, so embarrassing. I was trying to leave quietly. Little Melly suddenly smiled at him. Then she held out a cloth bag in her hand. Good luck. No matter where you go, I'll never forget you, mister. I picked some fruit. You can have them as a snack on your way. Soo-hyun stared at the little girl, stunned for a long moment. She smiled, waved, and continued. And my name is Melly. Thank you again, mister, and goodbye. Soo-hyun also smiled back at her. All right. Take care of yourself, Melly. Then he stepped into the gate. The scene changes to a car driving down a road. Hak-jun is sitting inside. He rested his chin on his hand, looking out the window thoughtfully. Voices echoed in his mind. June! Hak-jun! Hak-jun! I am... Suddenly, a voice pulled him back to reality. Are you worried? Hak-jun was silent for a moment, collecting himself, then shook his head and replied, How could I be? The man Dong-young, sitting next to him, laughed heartily. That's right. How could the shining star of the rookie lineup possibly feel worried? Someone like you, who's climbed all the way to the 15th floor, should at least get a B rank, maybe even an A rank. Hak-jun maintained a bored, indifferent expression. Dong-young glanced at him with a sinister smile and continued, Oh, right, speaking of rookies. That Kim Soo-hyun guy will probably be coming to get his rank evaluated soon. This caught Hakjun's attention. How do you know? The man replied smugly, my intuition tells me so. He just cleared the 10th floor recently. Isn't it the perfect time for an evaluation? Hakjun marveled inwardly. He even gets notified about the number of floors cleared. This Soo-hyun guy. Just thinking about him catching Dong-yong's eye. I feel bad for the guy. Dong-yong leaned back in his seat and said in a low, grim voice, just as a precaution, but if you happen to meet Kim Soo-hyun during a trial or an evaluation, you must by any means necessary recruit him into the guild. If you succeed, who knows, Kim Soo-hyun might just take your place. And I will set you free. These words left Hakjun completely stunned. You have no idea. On the condition that Kim Soo-hyun comes to take your place, I'll let you go. Hakjun frowned silently, staring at him for a moment. The scene changes to the Provisional Awakened Certification Agency. Hakjun got out of the car and looked up, lost in thought. Then he turned to look at Dong-yeong, who was still inside. The man had just reminded him, all right, I've taken care of everything, so you'll be sent straight to hell the moment this is done. Get over here quickly. After the rank evaluation is over, if you make any other moves, you know you'll be branded a freak, don't you? Faced with the man's sinister words, Hakjun, though seething with rage, forced a fake smile and replied, of course. He then looked up at the building again. As he entered the lobby, Hakjun thought Choi Hakjun, I really don't know how I'm supposed to handle that guy. Just as he stepped inside, a car pulled up outside. Soo-hyun got out of the car. Checking his phone, he mumbled, perfect timing. Looks like he just got here. It's been a while since I've seen a rank and tier assessment. A Provisional Awakened Certification Agency. As a government-managed institution, this is where people come to get their ranks accurately assessed. From independently trained, awakened to foreign, and non-human awakened, this agency manages almost all issues related to their ranks. Soo-hyun walked into the lobby and told the receptionist, I'm here for a new rank evaluation. She asked for his name. After giving it, Soo-hyun walked forward with a serious expression. His thoughts continued. You could say this is the monitoring system for the awakened. All awakened will definitely visit the agency very frequently. They can be sent to the dungeons right after receiving their rank evaluation, and they can also earn some money if they're actually sent there. Although my purpose isn't for that small amount of money at all, it's to get myself into that place. A staff member led him into a large hall. Please wait here. He replied, yes. People undergoing rank evaluations are treated just like awakened with their special bodies and refined skills. Therefore, they can absolutely become official awakened. Guild leaders are always trying to recruit them by any means necessary before another guild snatches them away. Soo-hyun looked around at everyone speechless. Do they have the eyes of a vulture or something? The staff member continued. We'll call your name for the test once we're ready. Soo-hyun nodded politely in thanks. Suddenly, an argument erupted nearby. Are you kidding me? Why can't you people do your jobs properly? The staff member turned to look in that direction, worried. Oh my God! A young man was shouting loudly in frustration. Open your damn eyes and look. Isn't my mana level 3? That means I should be rank C. How could I be rank D? The examiner tried to explain the parameters changed suddenly, so we couldn't do anything else. But he was immediately grabbed by the collar. He threatened him aggressively. The parameters changing is your fault. How the hell is that my problem? Do you guys get some sick pleasure from lowering people's ranks? Soo-hyun swallowed nervously. An awakened's income from dungeons is determined by their rank. Even so, he shouldn't be causing a scene like this, not with so many supervisors watching. The young man was about to continue his rampage. I don't care what you say, I won't accept this. When suddenly Hakjun appeared, forcefully twisted his arm behind his back and slammed him to the ground. People are still pulling these kinds of stunts. Soo-hyun watched, startled. The young man angrily demanded, Who the hell are you? Get your hands off me. Hakjun, having noticed the bracelet on the man's wrist, sneered. This bracelet. It can increase your mana for a short period. It's a rare item not available at the exchange. I have no idea how you got it. But you seem pretty well off for someone with such a low rank, huh? The guy gritted his teeth, struggling and screaming, You son of a bitch! Hakjun calmly continued to expose him. Do you think everyone here is stupid? If you think it's unfair, why don't you take that bracelet off? and get measured again to be fair. He looked down at him with a sinister expression, releasing a wave of killing intent. I bet you won't even make it to rank D. The guy was still talking tough, yelling, "You think you're so funny, huh?" A moment later, 2 staff members came to restrain him. "We'll escort you out, sir." As he was being dragged away, the guy was still lashing out. "What, get off me? I can walk by myself." Hook-jun was left behind, sighing wearily. Ugh. He scratched his head, annoyed. I was already in a bad mood, and I ended up going a little overboard. Anyway. Suddenly a voice rang out, causing Hook-jun to look up in shock. "Hello." He carefully turned toward the voice. Soo-hyun approached Hyuk-jun and continued, "We met once before on the 2nd floor. I wonder if you remember." Hyuk-jun thought, "Ah, that's right. So that feeling I had earlier, it wasn't my imagination. Asterisk. What is this, your first time here for an evaluation?" "Haha," Hyuk-jun laughed. "Why the big surprise? You're one to talk." Soo-hyun had a forced expression. "Well, yeah, but..." He wondered, don't all awakeners have to come in for a monthly evaluation? He gave a forced laugh and answered vaguely, "I had some things to deal with." Inside, he thought, I wanted to avoid the spotlight at all costs, but I can't keep... Not letting mom struggle like this. I shouldn't have stood out so much. There's no way it's this much. Finishing his thought, Soo-hyun asked, "What about you?" An awakener certified by the board gets a lot of perks and free access to various dungeons, you know. It's hard to believe you haven't been evaluated yet, especially after clearing 15 floors. Well... Hyuk-jun's friendly smile suddenly vanished, replaced by a cold expression. I have my own problems to deal with. Soo-hyun stared stunned by his sudden change in demeanor. Hyuk-jun's expression returned to normal as he continued. You know, we haven't properly introduced ourselves. My name is... Just then an announcement came over the speaker. Mr. Choi Hyuk-jun from the Aries Guild. Please come down for your evaluation. Hyuk-jun quickly stood up and laughed. Ha, looks like I'm up first. I'll be right back. Soo-hyun replied, go ahead. Then he watched the other man leave, thinking to himself, the Aries Guild. If I remember correctly, that's the guild he's going to destroy in the future. It looks like he's a member of it right now. I wonder why he'd do that. Soo-hyun was lost in thought for a while. A moment later, the results were announced. Mr. Choi Hyuk-jun from the Aries Guild. Rank 4, Mana 44. Result B rank. Immediately impressed murmurs filled the hall. A B rank. He looks so young. I heard he only awakened a year ago. So that's why he's in the Aries Guild. As Hyuk-jun returned to his seat, Soo-hyun said, Congratulations. You got B rank, but you don't seem too happy about it. Hyuk-jun scratched his head, looking conflicted. Well, Just as he was about to reply, the next name was called. Next up, Mr. Kim Soo-hyun, please come down for your evaluation. Hyuk-jun whipped his head around in shock, blurting out Kim Soo-hyun. The crowd started murmuring again. What is that? The real Kim Soo-hyun? The guy who got first place with the highest score on the first floor. It's probably just someone with the same name. He got a perfect score on the 10th floor too. Amidst the noise, Hyuk-jun was still thinking to himself, Dun-yong. You said, I wonder where Kim Soo-hyun is right now. Soo-hyun calmly stood up. Excuse me, I'll just be a moment. Everyone stared at him stunned. Hyuk-jun was the most shocked of all. What then? Does that mean? Hyuk-jun's mind reeled, recalling Dun-yong's words from earlier. If you happen to run into Kim Soo-hyun in the tower or at the evaluation center, do whatever it takes to get him to join our guild. If you succeed, then I might just set you free. Hyuk-jun looked toward Soo-hyun, his face a mask of desperation. Is that really Kim Soo-hyun? A while later, Soo-hyun dragged himself out of the building, looking exhausted. He couldn't help but let out a deep sigh. On closer inspection, large beads of cold sweat were trickling down his face. I'm so screwed. A few minutes earlier, inside the evaluation room, a friendly guide instructed him, all you have to do is channel your mana into the measurement device. Okay, he replied. Hyuk-jun watched tensely, waiting for the result. Soo-hyun slowly channeled the mana from his hand, closing his eyes as if sensing the energy. The purple stream of energy from Soo-hyun's hand flowed into the measurement panel, but a second later, a violent reddish-purple torrent of power erupted, engulfing the entire hall. Hyuk-jun was completely floored by the overflowing power. What in the world is this? This mana. For a moment, the room fell silent as Soo-hyun retracted his power. Did you feel something? You look worried. The results were announced. Mr. Kim Soo-hyun, unaffiliated, Mana 29, result C rank. Hak Jun shot to his feet, yelling, "No way! That can't be right." His expression was still tense. All that mana, and he's only a C rank. It should have been A rank at the very least, but the people around him were calm, chatting amongst themselves. Guess it was just someone with the same name after all. Yeah, it's a pretty common name. I was really hoping it was him, though. I've been losing sleep over this lately. Meanwhile, Hak Jun thought, it seems like no one else felt it, but I'm sure. Down below, a staff member was explaining the procedure for receiving the results to Soo-hyun. You can go outside and pick it up. Hak Jun was still staring intently at Soo-hyun, certain. That really is the Kim Soo-hyun from the rumors. But then he began to doubt himself. Or maybe not. His head throbbed as he slumped back into his seat. Ugh, I don't know anymore. Maybe I was wrong. The machine did say he was C rank after all. But that's right. Who could possibly control their mana output enough to trick the measurement device? Even for a genius, that's something only the world's top-ranked awakeners could do. Outside, as Soo-hyun walked, he silently prayed they would think that way. For a moment, I lost control of my mana regulation. Remembering that instant his mana flared up, he felt like he could have died right there. Luckily, I managed to fix it in time, or it would have been a huge problem. Is it because my stats suddenly shot up? Soo-hyun rubbed his chin, thinking, what I mean is, after brilliantly conquering the 10th floor a few days ago, my stats skyrocketed, and the rewards were just as amazing. Thinking back not long ago, Soo-hyun created a blue flame in his hand. It's a skill he got after defeating the Blue Phoenix. Holy flame. It's pretty strong, even in its early stages, and it's especially effective against demons. The attribute window appeared. Holy Flame, Mana Class 4, Level 1, Proficiency 15.5%. Holy Flame inflicts massive damage on creatures of darkness, especially demons, and its power increases with Mana Class. Stats: Name Kim Soo-hyun. Total Mana 52. Mana Class 4. Strength 55. Agility 57. Stamina 48. Reflexes 64. Fatigue 41. In another space, Soo-hyun was now standing in a deserted forest. While checking his info, he marveled. My stats have gone up quite a bit, but what I'm most interested in are the items in the reward shop. Every single item on the list is impressive. This is the 10th floor level 10 after all. It's on a whole other level compared to elixirs or mana-boosting potions. I don't even know why I bought this egg from among all the rare items. Soo-hyun picked up an egg with a dumbfounded look on his face. The attribute window appeared. Egg of an unidentified object. An unknown egg. It is not known what species laid it. His expression was speechless. I only bought it because it looked weird compared to the other items I've seen before. But that unknown description makes me a little worried. It seems smaller than I thought. However, there was once a lucky awakened who received a rare egg and became a powerhouse along with the ancient mythical beast that hatched from it. Returning to the present, Soo-hyun continued to ponder as he walked down the street. It's been a while since I brought it home, but there hasn't been any sign of life from it at all. It's not an artificial egg, is it? Suddenly, a voice called out from behind, making Soo-hyun stop. Mr. Soo-hyun! He turned around and exclaimed, Hak Jun, I thought you left already. Hak Jun replied, I was in the waiting room this whole time. Did your results turn out okay? He answered calmly, yeah, more or less. I got rank C. Surprised, Hak Jun stared at him intently. A moment later, he was about to say something. Mr. Soo-hyun, are you... Suddenly, the guy with the rooster hair from before rushed over, screaming, You son of a bitch, I found you! You arrogant bastard, do you have any idea how hard I had to work to get to rank C? Soo-hyun immediately recalled the situation from earlier. It's that guy. Is he trying to get revenge or something? Hak Jun stepped forward and said to Soo-hyun, Give me a few seconds. Soo-hyun was surprised, thinking, Oh, interesting. I'm curious about Choi Hak Jun's skills, too. Let's see what he's got. Suddenly, the rooster-haired guy's body tensed up as if possessed. His body trembled, confusing the two people facing him. A hand was resting on his shoulder, transferring something malevolent through him. The sinister Dong Yong spoke up. Well, Hak Jun, what took you so long? That guy. He turned the rooster-haired kid into a terrifying purple zombie-like body. I've been waiting for you. Both of them were equally stunned. Soo-hyun thought to himself, What the? Who is that guy? Soo-hyun's expression turned cold as he called out, Guildmaster. That guy Dong-yong let go, and the rooster-haired kid fell face first onto the ground. Soo-hyun was startled by this action. The guildmaster of the Aries Guild, Jang Dong-hyuk. That guy Dong-hyuk approached, reminding him, I've told you time and time again you don't need to be so formal. He then casually kicked the person lying on the ground hard. Soo-hyun's eyes sharpened as he watched him. Dong-hyuk then slung an arm around Hak-jun's shoulder, laughing and speaking naturally. I told you to just call me Hyung Hak-jun. Then he turned a wary gaze toward Soo-hyun. By the way, looks like you've made a new friend. Hak-jun flustered, tried to give a vague answer. This person. I just happened to meet him in the lobby. I recommended him for the guild since his rank met the requirements, but from what I can tell, he's not very interested. Dong-hyuk put on a nonchalant expression. Is that so? He said, turning to Soo-hyun. But for our Hak-jun here to take an interest in you, your skills must be pretty high, huh? Let's see. I'm the guild master of the Aries Guild, Jang Dong-hyuk. What's your name? Behind him, Hak-jun was frantically waving his arms and legs, signaling him not to answer. Soo-hyun noticed his actions. Hak-jun put a finger to his lips, signaling for him to be quiet. Soo-hyun recognized the well-intentioned gesture. He cracked a smile. Hak-jun let out a sigh of relief, wiping the sweat from his brow. But unexpectedly, Soo-hyun did the exact opposite of what Hak-jun had warned. His eyes were sharp with a hint of arrogance as he introduced himself. My name is Kim Soo-hyun. Hak-jun jumped in shock, his face twisting in horror. He whipped his head back to look at Dong-hyuk, who seemed to freeze for a beat. Then his expression turned excited and greedy. Dong-hyuk asked again, as if to make sure, Kim Soo-hyun. Hak-jun quickly spoke up to refute it. No, he's not. That person, sir. That guy only got rank C, so there's no way he could be the Kim Soo-hyun. I was even the judge, but he was cut off by the man's low growl. Shut up. He glanced back with a warning look. You'd better keep your mouth shut. I'll be the one to confirm this matter. If that's not the case, then I can check his registration card, can I? Hak-jun flinched in alarm. A moment later, Soo-hyun's information card was presented. Awakened registration card. Name Kim Soo-hyun. Rank C. Address A 725. Anyang 5 Dong. Anyang C. Jonggi. Valid until... After looking it over, the man asked again in disappointment, Are you really just a C rank? Then he handed the card back. My apologies. It seems you're not the person I'm looking for. It's such a common name. It's easy to get them mixed up. Even so, if you really were the person I'm talking about, I would definitely invite you to join some major business proposals. Soo-hyun looked at him with a calm expression. Dong-yong turned and waved his hand. But it would be really weird if I invited an awakened who's limited to C rank to be a leader, wouldn't it? Sorry about that. Oh, but if this interests you, you can come to our guild for an entrance test. But Soo-hyun's calm refusal made Dong-yong pause. No, thank you. His eyes were cold as he affirmed once more, even if I really were that Kim Soo-hyun, I would never join your guild. Dong-yong glanced back at him with vicious anger. Soo-hyun continued, because I know exactly what would happen if I joined a guild where the leader doesn't value my life. The man radiated killing intent but just chuckled, acting relaxed. Consider it a test. You're the only one who dared to pick a fight with my guild members. Right, and you'll definitely receive a fitting punishment. Soo-hyun said that person was a D rank. Surely you don't think he was out of line for defending himself. Hearing that, Dong-yong bent over his body, shaking with laughter. Cough, cough. It seems our ways of thinking are a little different, huh? I guess you don't know about the unwritten rule. No one is allowed to interfere in a fight between the awakened, even if one of them is about to die, especially when one of them is a powerful awakened. They come with their own sense of justice and reason. The stronger an awakened is, the more power they have. A guild leader has to be strong like me. Only then can you kill people and get away with it. He walked around behind Soo-hyun, leaned down, and whispered menacingly in his ear. Don't you think so? We all want that kind of freedom. Soo-hyun, even calmer now, replied, It's exactly as you mentioned before. Our ways of thinking are too different. Dong-yong stared at the back of his neck with a confused, suspicious look. Then he turned away, exasperated. Well, then I have nothing more to say. Let's go, Hak-jun. Hak-jun, startled, snapped back to attention. Yes, sir. As he passed Soo-hyun, he bowed with a forced smile. I'm very sorry. Suddenly, Soo-hyun grabbed his arm, stopping Hook-jun. A shocked Hook-jun looked down to see Soo-hyun holding out a piece of paper. He gave a faint smile and said, If you need my help, you can call me anytime. A moment later, Hook-jun had to follow after Dong-yong. Soo-hyun watched them go with a thoughtful expression. Yong Dong-yong is a mid-tier guild leader, and also an A-rank awakened. Back at his home, Soo-hyun was sitting in front of his computer typing. He was looking for information on that guy Yong Dong-yong. According to information about his former gang, he was a well-known martial artist before officially becoming an awakened. Immediately after, he went after all the companies related to his old group and officially established his own guild. And of course, he used the same methods he did back when he was a gangster, especially incorporating drug trafficking. Soon, all the members and those who were dragged in became corrupt, and he didn't hesitate in the slightest to kill people. There's an old saying, it's easier to change rivers and mountains than a person's nature. He's definitely hiding something. That might be why he hates Choi Han-jun so much. He read the information confused, but up until now, there's still nothing out of the ordinary. Choi Han-jun and that guild. What's the problem between them? This is all the information I can find. There's so much to do. Suddenly, Soo-hyun looked out the window and saw pure white snowflakes falling. As night fell, the world seemed to freeze over. In some places, there hadn't been rain or snow for a very long time, and the dry, hot air had been getting worse day by day. I really don't know how it was back then. A peaceful scene like this is probably too much of a luxury. Soo-hyun sighed. The new year is almost here. Suddenly, he seemed to remember something. That's right. He frantically started typing on the keyboard. I almost forgot because of the rank evaluation and the thing with Choi Han-jun. There was another reason I had to come to this city. The very reason I had to come back to this city. It wasn't just for the rank evaluation, but also because of the Awakened Management Organization. It was established to protect their clients. As for the Awakened, they all have to get certified to participate in dungeons, and I have no choice but to take part in the screening. I just have to wait for it to be completed. While I'm participating in the screening, I can't let this pass me by, because I know... After moving the mouse for a moment, a recruitment post appeared on the screen. I'm looking for people who can raid a dungeon with me. Hottest today, 1 hour ago, rank orange, location Gyeonggi Province, Gwangju, minimum requirement C rank, 1 out of 1, year 2014. Soo-hyun exclaimed, this incident is going to happen soon. But suddenly Soo-hyun's expression went blank. He tensed up, breaking into a cold sweat as he continued to type. What if I'm not accepted even if I meet all the requirements? I hadn't thought of this. I'm sure I'm not the only C-rank fake awakened. Based on the data, I've directly experienced a dungeon. I wonder if they'll choose me. Suddenly the image of meeting that guy Dong Zhang Yong during the day flashed through his mind. As if he'd thought of something bold, Soo-hyun gave a faint smile and thought to himself, I hate this idea. But I should at least give it a try, right? The scene changes to a coffee shop where people are sitting and working together. The sound of someone reading abilities aloud can be heard. And Min Seok Assassin C-Ranker experienced in 12 dungeon raids. Lee Eon-mi Mage C-Ranker experienced in 8 dungeon raids. Kim Yoon Healer C-Ranker experienced in 5 dungeon raids. After finishing, B-Jun spoke up. Well, is that enough to make things safe? They're not outstanding, but they have good teamwork. The person sitting opposite her sighed. They're all just newbies. That's too harsh. Hearing that, Bajun shot back angrily. I'm one of those raiders too, okay? Anyway, you'll be there. So the other members don't matter. So wipe that frown off your face. B-rank awakened. The man focusing on the documents is the B-rank awakened. Lee Ju-ho, he warned her seriously. Even so, we can't go with just this many people. We have to choose at least one more person. Baejun, should we really, especially when we'll get a smaller share of the reward? Why are you so scared when you're a B-ranker? Ju-ho replied, safety is the most important thing you know. The death rate in dungeons has been rising lately. I even stopped climbing the tower because I value my life. So what's the point of extra rewards? If I die inside a dungeon, it's just an orange dungeon and you're this worried. Suddenly, Bijun's phone chimed with a message notification. Fine, do whatever you want. I can't do anything but obey what you say, team leader. Juho continued to ponder. Isn't there anyone useful? Suddenly, Baejun exclaimed, Oh, hey, Juho, just in time. A new application was just submitted. This person is... On the phone screen was a message awakened Kim Soo-hyun has applied for the Gwangju dungeon raid. A gasp of shock was heard. It says here, Kim Soo-hyun. The simplest way to distinguish a dungeon's difficulty is by color. The system is based on the colors of the rainbow. The closer the color is to violet, the higher the difficulty. An orange dungeon has the second lowest difficulty level. It can be easily cleared by a raid party of C rank awakened. But this orange dungeon is a little different. January 1st, 2024. Gwangju. Soo-hyun had appeared in this dungeon. Juho stood at the front, extending a hand. Ah, Soo-hyun, welcome. We were waiting for you. Soo-hyun shook his hand and said, It seems I'm the last to arrive. It's fine. The others just got here a little while ago. Let me introduce myself. I'm the leader of this raid party, Lee Juho. Then he turned to introduce the other teammates. Everyone, this is Kim Soo-hyun. Hearing this, a teammate exclaimed in shock. Kim Soo-hyun. A young man in a yellow shirt rushed over to Soo-hyun with an admiring look. Are you really the Kim Soo-hyun? The one who ranked first in the Tower of Trials? Soo-hyun, startled, took a step back. Juho quickly explained. That's not him, Min-seok. They just have the same name. This Kim Soo-hyun is a C ranker, and this is his first raid. Actually, Barry and I were both shocked when we saw the name. Remembering when he first got the message, he had jumped up in excitement. Is he really Kim Soo-hyun? I don't know either. Let's see. Hearing that Min-seok immediately became indifferent. Oh, I see. Soo-hyun silently breathed a sigh of relief. Just as I thought. Good thing I modified my rank. I'd be grateful if they all misunderstand. It's better if they don't discover my abilities yet. Just then, someone stepped forward and spoke up. What the hell? I was really looking forward to it because his name was Kim Soo-hyun, but he's just some random guy. Who happens to share the same name? On top of that, he's just a kid who's never seen a real battle before. Is he really going to be useful? A girl with short shoulder-length hair walked up with a scornful expression. Soo-hyun looked at her with a deadpan expression and calmly retorted, I don't think you should be saying that when we're both C rankers. The girl, having been talked back to, became embarrassed and angry, shouting, What? The others covered their faces, turning away in exasperation, as if to say, I don't know this person. The girl stammered, trying to explain, Do you think we're the same just because we're both C rankers? I'm way more useful. Baejun spoke up, reminding her, Hey, that's enough out of you. If everyone's ready, let's start moving. Do you two have enough energy to argue before we even enter the dungeon? She gritted her teeth in anger, then whipped around and walked away. I'll definitely be watching you to see how well you do. Soo-hyun thought to himself, she's like a low-level villain. He then glanced over at Baejun. This woman is Kim Ba-zoon. She's Lee Juho's friend and the vice captain of the team. Suddenly, a friendly voice came from behind him. Hey, Mr. Kim Soo-hyun. Hello, I'm the team's healer, Kim Yeon. A long-haired woman in a jean jacket stepped forward to greet him. Soo-hyun awkwardly replied, hi. Yeon just smiled encouragingly at Soo-hyun, much to his annoyance. Don't pay her any mind. There are always people like her around Awakeners. The type who always likes to show off in front of newcomers. I'm sure Eunmi didn't mean anything bad by it. The short-haired girl, whose name was Eunmi, had sharp ears and turned back with a piercing gaze. I'll be keeping an eye on you. Sensing the tense atmosphere, Soo-hyun sighed internally. If this doesn't look bad, I don't know what does. Yeon said, Anyway, it's nice to meet you. Soo-hyun replied curtly, Thanks, nice to meet you too. Then pointing to one side, he asked, What about that guy who's always standing alone? She turned to look behind her. It was a person in a hooded coat, completely covered. Yeon quickly replied, I don't know who that is. And it seems like neither Juho nor Barium know anything about him either. Hearing this, he exclaimed in surprise, What? But that's ridiculous. Yeon continued. He said it would be difficult for him to reveal his name, personal information, or even his face. But we checked his fake Awaken registration, so there shouldn't be any problems. He's also a C rank. Soo-hyun frowned, looking uneasily at the mysterious person. Looks like he's a problem. A moment later, Juho spoke up. All right, everyone, we're going to enter the dungeon now. A few things to note before we go in. While everyone else was discussing, Soo-hyun was thinking, the reason I gave up on climbing the tower and came to this colored dungeon, his expression was grim, is because soon everyone here will die. January 1st, 2024, all the raiders died inside the dungeon. An unusual incident occurred at that time. The difficulty of the dungeon wasn't even high. The reason this case attracted so much attention was because there were a total of 5 deaths, and the newspapers reported that the raid team that entered the dungeon had a total of 6 members. In other words, there was a culprit among those who entered the dungeon who killed everyone else. Now, including me, there are a total of 7 people. But to the killer, I'm just another name on the victim list. While protecting everyone from this situation, I need to figure out who the culprit is. Soo-hyun eyed everyone. To do that, I need to... As he was lost in thought, the discussion ended. All right, that concludes the explanation. Yoo-ho looked over at Soo-hyun, who was spacing out, and asked, Mr. Soo-hyun, did you hear any of that? He laughed and scratched his head. Of course. Yoo-ho reached his hand into a spatial gate, reassuring them, Don't worry too much, everyone. This is just an orange-level dungeon. They stepped into the dungeon. Joo-ho turned back, still calm. There will be fewer monsters here. And even if there are, they'll only be beast-type monsters like wolves. Just then, he froze, sensing a giant monster appear behind them. The whole group jumped in shock and looked up. The monster swung its club about to smash down. A cyclops. Soo-hyun was stunned, screaming internally, a cyclops. An explosion erupted, sending thick dust and chunks of rock flying. How the hell, this is just an orange dungeon. But why? The explosion was so large, it shook the space outside. From a distance, a brilliant orange blast of power could be seen. The Cyclops raised its massive club. Soo-hyun panicked, getting into a defensive stance. A Cyclops demon. How? Why is it in an orange-level dungeon? A huge explosion sent rocks and dust flying into the air. The group slid back to dodge. Soo-hyun gritted his teeth, worried. This is strange. A Cyclops demon in an orange dungeon. Cyclops demons only appear in yellow-level dungeons or higher. Which means this is a growth-type leveling up dungeon. His expression grew more anxious. Just like growth-type skills like Transcendence, there are dungeons that can increase in difficulty. For example, a growth-type dungeon. He glanced behind him. Don't tell me the reason the raid team was wiped out was because of a sudden increase in the dungeon's difficulty. No. Yoo-ho shouted, reminding everyone, check your gear. Soo-hyun was still lost in thought. There are too many unexplained things. A suspect can't interfere with a dungeon's difficulty. If the suspect is planning to kill everyone, then a situation like this is just too perfect. His eyes scanned each person's face. So who is it behind those confused faces who is the one hiding their glee? Suddenly, Eunmi screamed, What are we doing? We have to run. This is at least a yellow-level dungeon in difficulty. Someone lamented, But the dungeon reward. She snapped back at him. The reward is the reward more important than your life. How are we supposed to beat that monster? I'm getting out of here. A shout from another person retorted, Wait, what are the rest of us supposed to do if you leave? Shut up, this is no time to be arguing. Suddenly, at that moment, the Cyclops continued to charge, attacking everyone. Soo-hyun gritted his teeth, worried. Damn it, they provoked it. The attack was aimed at Bezin, whose back was turned. Yoo-ho immediately jumped out, raising his sword to block the attack. Yoo-ho, he gritted his teeth, holding his ground. Soo-hyun watched in amazement. Lee Joo-ho, I guess he doesn't just have B-rank eyes. But suddenly the Cyclops threw a knee. Joo-ho was struck by it and sent flying like a bullet. That's definitely not enough to defeat a Cyclops. Joo-ho's body was slammed against the cliff, creating a huge explosion that left the entire group gaping in horror. A panicked scream rang out, Lee Joo-ho! He was slumped on the ground as the monster charged at him again. Chaotic screams erupted. Get up! A B-rank awakened, taken down in a single blow. That's why I told you we should run. It's over. Suddenly there was a flash of light. The giant club stopped just inches from Joo-ho's head. His expression turned to shock as he looked forward to see Soo-hyun holding back the blow. He's holding on, he thought to himself. Mr. Kim Soo-hyun Bezin rushed over to Lee Joo-ho. Are you all right? He replied, I'm fine. Soo-hyun glanced back, saw the two of them happily checking on each other, and figured he must be okay. Thank goodness. But just then, the giant Cyclops swung its fist to attack him from the side, but before the punch could land, Soo-hyun suddenly vanished from his spot. Using his super speed, he jumped and slid across the ground to dodge. The three of them gaped in astonishment. He dodged that Cyclops' attack as if it was nothing. Soo-hyun spoke seriously. How much longer are you all going to stand there like that? Everyone calm down. We can't run away even if we wanted to. Suddenly, a shout rang out. What? What are you talking about? The mysterious person continued. There's no way out. The entrance we took is blocked. What? Soo-hyun began to explain. Starting with yellow difficulty dungeons, the entrance and exit appear in random locations after you've entered. Once you're in, you can't escape until you find the exit. Juho stood up and walked over, confirming. He's right. I'm not sure why this dungeon changed its difficulty, though. Suddenly, a massive tremor shook the dungeon. The group looked up in terror. An earthquake! What's going on? Soo-hyun frowned, seriously observing his surroundings. Suddenly, countless monsters began crawling down from above. It looks like we'll have to fight our way out. Leave the Cyclopses to me. Soo-hyun leaped away. Yuho turned in a panic. Huh, wait, Soo-hyun, let me fight it too. From behind, a shout rang out. Captain, there are too many monsters over here. Juho gritted his teeth. Damn it. The horde of monsters charged forward, a terrifying sight. Everyone focus. Soo-hyun frowned calmly, calculating. There are about 30 monsters besides the Cyclopses. They're all orange difficulty. My companions should be able to handle them. And with this many, I can wipe them all out with that technique. But not right now. I'll have to bear with it. Normally, the weak point of a Cyclops is its eye, and the crucial thing is, the eye we're talking about isn't the one on its head. The true weak point of a Cyclops is another hidden eye. While calculating, Soo-hyun moved nimbly, leaping behind the giant Cyclops. It panicked, swinging its arm to try and block him. But unexpectedly, Soo-hyun landed right on its hand. He swung his sword forward and yelled, "This!" Then he swung his sword up with great force. Here, a single strike plunged down into the giant Cyclops' hand that was holding the club. The reason these Cyclopses hold their clubs so tightly is for attacking, but also for defense. There's an eye on its hand. The giant Cyclops dropped its club, roaring in pain. Soo-hyun then leapt off of it. He glanced to the side. This side is clear now. They're still fighting on the other side. They were busy hacking and slashing monsters when a shout rang out. Juho, barium, I'm done over here. Soo-hyun was standing on this side. He didn't notice the giant hand reaching out to grab him. Soo-hyun, behind you. In an instant, it snatched him up. Soo-hyun struggled in panic. What? It's not dead. Ugh. The giant Cyclops grinned triumphantly as it lifted Soo-hyun into the air. What's happening? The giant Cyclops raised him high, grinning sinisterly. It wasn't the eye on his weapon hand, but the one on the opposite hand, the eye on his other hand. It began to glow, staring intently at him. Soo-hyun's expression grew grim. The giant Cyclops used both hands to squeeze him tightly in its palms. Yuho cried out in shock. Mr. Soo-hyun! Min-seok looked over in a panic. What, how Soo-hyun's hurt? Eunbi quickly turned back. Huh, that punk got himself hurt. Yoon thought in a daze. Is Mr. Soo-hyun dead? Eunbi immediately turned and ran shouting, I told you this would happen! This place is hopeless. Suddenly, Bazoon stared blankly in that direction. Wait, look! The giant Cyclops was also looking down at its hands in disbelief. It couldn't close its palms, blocked by a powerful surge of energy. The monster's hands were quickly forced apart, and Soo-hyun launched out from between them. Juho's jaw dropped in astonishment at the sight. Soo-hyun flew into the air, his entire body erupting with a red aura. He grinned inside. That was close. Good thing I borrowed this guy's skill beforehand. In front of him, a system screen appeared. Conversion. You can simulate the target's skill. Target giant Cyclops. Trait giant's breath. Body regeneration. Just then, the monster was still clutching its injured hand. It trembled in pain. Soo-hyun landed on the ground. He looked down at his own hand, seriously thinking, the skills I've gathered recently have really helped me out a lot. The chieftain's berserk skill and the Blue Phoenix's sacred fire skill from back then. I could only roughly simulate their skills before, but now I can even simulate their power. This is more than I ever expected. Everything should go smoothly from here on out, if things keep progressing like this. As he thought this, he smiled in satisfaction. Juho rushed over in a panic to check on Soo-hyun, but before Soo-hyun could answer, he quickly leaped back into the air. Yuho once again stared blankly after him. He was charging toward the horde of Cyclops monsters just as they were launching another attack. Soo-hyun, becoming a streak of light, zipped right past them. Their jaws dropped in fear as countless slashes burst forth like a net. A moment later, the monsters' corpses fell to the ground and shattered. Soo-hyun landed swiftly. Meanwhile, the giant Cyclops was frantically smashing everything around it. Soo-hyun swung his sword, attacking it from behind. "Hey, I'm over here." It hurriedly turned around, but he moved continuously, not letting it catch him. Yuho watched with his mouth agape, marveling. This speed and technique, this is truly the level of a C ranker. While he was stunned, a monster suddenly charged at him from behind. Yuho quickly snapped out of it and dealt with it. "No, I need to handle things on my end. There's no time to worry about other things. That's right, I have an important job to do." He called out to Bajun, "You attack from the front. Don't forget to have Min Seok and Yun provide cover from behind." Bajun quickly complied. "You heard him right. Cover my back." Both Min Seok and Yun ran over. "Got it." Soo-hyun looked down, thinking with satisfaction, looks like they're finally working together. Then he turned back to the giant Cyclops. "In that case, I'll finish this up quickly too." A powerful surge of energy erupted, causing the monster's expression to twist in terror. A net of sword aura was descending from the sky. Its body was sliced into countless pieces, slowly disintegrating into thin air as debris rained down. Meanwhile, Juho's group had also finished off the smaller monsters. "We finally took care of them." Bajun leaned on her sword, panting heavily. "I really thought I was a goner." Eunmi, in a similar state, asked, "So, what do we do now?" Someone spoke up. "We just took care of a horde of monsters that appeared from nowhere. If more show up, are we supposed to just keep fighting them? Shouldn't we call for help?" From the supervisor, Yuho turned and replied, "To be honest, this is the first time I've ever encountered a situation like this. I don't think there's any meaningful help we can get in this situation. It looks safe over there. Let's go rest." "All right." Soo-hyun was standing alone when Juho walked up to him. "Soo-hyun, are you all right?" He replied, "Yeah, I'm completely..." Suddenly he realized he'd let his guard down and sweat started pouring. "Oh crap, I completely forgot I'm a C ranker. That situation was pretty dangerous, but I think I overdid it a bit." Soo-hyun forced a crooked smile, trying to cover. "Actually, my whole body is aching a bit." Juho immediately said, "I'll get Yun to come heal you. I'm going to discuss our next move with Baejin." Yun quickly ran over. "I'm here." Then Yun began to heal Soo-hyun. "Are you seriously injured?" No, it's not that bad." Yun said, "I'll use my healing magic on you." He replied, "Thank you." As she healed him, Yun praised him. "You were incredible back there. You took down a giant Cyclops all on your own. Even B-rank awakeners have a tough time with them." Soo-hyun replied humbly, "I was just lucky. I just happened to find its weak spot." Suddenly, Yun grew quiet for a moment. "Soo-hyun, aren't you worried?" Soo-hyun looked at her confused. You mean about how difficult this dungeon is?" She glanced at the others. "Well, that's part of it, but I'm talking about them. Min Seok is too scared to fight, and Eunmi does nothing but complain. We don't even know who that other guy is. And on top of that, those two." She gestured towards Bajun and Juho. "I've heard some things on the forums. Apparently a lot of people haven't been receiving any rewards from their dungeon clears lately. It's because the ones in charge of loot distribution will claim that certain party members didn't contribute enough to deserve a share. It's possible that after we finish this raid, they won't share any of the items with us." Soo-hyun followed her gaze and replied, "I see." Yun added, "You've contributed the most to this party." Soo-hyun smiled, thinking to himself, "She's right about that." Then he suddenly said, "Don't worry. I think I've got a grasp of the situation now." Suddenly, Juho walked over and called out, "Soo-hyun, I have something to discuss with you. Can we talk over there?" Soo-hyun replied cheerfully, "Of course." Yun's face paled as she looked at Soo-hyun. "Actually, I have something I want to discuss with you too." Juho glanced at her sharp expression, confused. A moment later, they were still inside the dungeon. The group started moving again. Yun looked around nervously as she walked. It's a good thing there are no monsters. Soo-hyun speculated, I'm sure we've killed all the monsters in this area. I think we'll be safe until we reach the next section. As Juho was focused on walking, Bezin came closer and asked, Did your talk with Soo-hyun go okay? And what about that plan? He recalled their earlier conversation. Anyway, there's something I want to ask you. Juho closed his eyes and replied, The plan is off. Bezin asked, Why? He explained, It seems something more terrifying is waiting for us. Very quickly they arrived before a tall iron gate. Everyone looked up at it in silence. Soo-hyun glanced to the side, thinking to himself, Now, the culprit will slowly show their true colors. The iron gate opened quickly and everyone followed one another inside. Min Se-ok looked around and wondered, Where is this Juho guest? It looks like the center of the dungeon. Is there an exit? Unmai suddenly saw something and exclaimed, Oh, is that? Isn't that the exit? Her voice rose as a golden door appeared ahead of them. That's right. That must be it. Unmai ran excitedly toward it. Finally, we can get out of this damn place. Yuho quickly warned, Wait, if we just rush in without thinking. Suddenly, a tremor ran through the air and a system screen appeared. Dungeon system activated. Welcome, travelers. The dungeon trial will begin shortly. They exclaimed in panic. A trial. This is the voice of the tower, speaking right in front of us. What is this? Soo-hyun remained calm amidst the shock. Ever since the yellow dungeon fighting monsters hasn't been the end of the raid. He recalled a previous mission, save the troubled village and survive, just like the tower's previous trials, only by meeting these conditions. Can one clear the dungeon? The system continued its announcement. Please choose how you will overcome this trial. Method 1, fight the monsters head-on. Monsters will be summoned in 30 minutes from the back gate. Method 2, open the door on the other side and run from the monsters for 10 minutes. Monsters will be summoned to chase you. If you do not choose within 10 minutes, a random trial will commence. Bezin exclaimed in confusion, What does this mean? A system that activates on its own. Ion offered a guess. So, doesn't this mean that we can't escape if we fail this trial? A mysterious person chimed in. Seems like it. Yun's voice boomed. Then we definitely have to run. Think about how hard this dungeon has been. We can't possibly fight them. Min Se-ok scratched his face. But don't you think the reward would be better if we chose to fight instead of run? Besides, we were fighting pretty well before. She immediately turned and snapped at him. You think you have any right to say that? You haven't helped at all. Min Se-ok lost his patience and yelled back, What did you say? You're the one who's been thinking about nothing but running away. Bezin stepped in. Stop it, you two don't fight. Now's not the time for this. Meanwhile, Juho was stroking his chin deep in thought. Then he turned and saw Soo-hyun, also staring at him. Soo-hyun gave a calm smile, but his eyes held a thoughtful glint. Bezin turned back in a panic and asked, What are you going to do? Lead Juho. We only have 10 minutes until the trial starts. Juho replied, I think, even back when we were fighting the Cyclopes. The only reason we made it this far is because of Soo-hyun, so I think we should ask for his opinion. All eyes turned to him. Hearing this, Eunbi clicked her tongue. Shh. He's just a C-rank leader from a low-tier raid party. Yeon added, But it's true he fought amazingly well, huh? Soo-hyun calmly replied to everyone, I think we should fight. Eunbi was stunned. What? She immediately pointed a finger in his face and yelled, You're just full of confidence. Because you beat those Cyclopes, do you even understand our current situation? He just said nonchalantly, Besides the reward, Jae, you heard the options. Either run or face them and fight. Eunbi was even more shocked by his indifferent attitude. I'm being ignored. Soo-hyun continued his train of thought. Of course, running away sounded better at first, but to say there was no other choice but to run. In other words, that could mean there are monsters. Monsters that we can't possibly face and fight. But who knows what's behind those doors? So, it's better if we focus on our formation and hold out here for as long as possible. Juho thought seriously considering the situation. That's pretty logical. He drew his sword and said to everyone, All right, if no one has any objections, we'll go with that. Everyone into formation. They all stood in a circle facing outwards on high alert. The system announced, You have chosen the first method to face and fight. It will begin in 30 seconds. Good luck, travelers. A surge of power flooded the space, and from within it, bizarre-looking monsters emerged. They were terrifying. Their eyes were bloodshot red, some even had 2 wings, and yet countless types of monsters just kept stepping out of that curtain of power. Soo-hyun shouted, "Here they come! Everyone be careful!" Ju-ho was quickly attacked by a monster's long tail. He hurriedly raised his sword to block it. How are they so fast? Suddenly, its tail changed direction. It wrapped around his neck. "Gk, I can't breathe!" Soo-hyun quickly appeared and sliced off its tail. Soo-hyun! The purple monster in rage charged at Soo-hyun. He gritted his teeth and slashed at its stomach. His eyes were sharp, calculating. 1 minute has now passed. On the other side, Yun was still holding the healing staff, channeling power to the mysterious person Min-seok and Eun-mai. They worked together to handle the other monsters. Bazoon and Ju-ho, gritting their teeth, stabbed them one by one. Soo-hyun charged straight into the center of the enemy ranks, alone, sending them flying. He looked around with a cold gaze. It's time. What's next? Suddenly, a shadowy figure was hiding nearby. Observing the situation, they wondered in confusion. Should I reveal myself, or should I just stay like this? As everyone was fighting the monsters together, something caught their attention, making them look in one direction. Soo-hyun and Ju-ho also had shocked expressions. The door. Yoon had a horrified expression, her body trembling at the sight before her. The door was emitting light, and in the center was the image of the mysterious person impaled by long spikes. Their body was lifted into the air, just like that one member of the group had been eliminated. Ju-ho gritted his teeth and hissed, "What is happening?" The 3 of them, Bazoon, Yun, and Eunmi, were stunned and horrified, their movements freezing. Ju-ho quickly turned back to remind everyone, "Stay calm, the attack isn't over." Suddenly, the monsters turned transparent and vanished. Everyone was bewildered, not understanding what was happening. The system screen appeared again. The first route has been forcibly terminated. The second route will begin in 10 minutes. Run through the gate to escape safely. Eunbi screamed, What's happening? This trial was supposed to end in 5 minutes, but someone opened the door. Yoon collapsed to her knees, covering her face in despair. I don't know. That person suddenly opened the door and ran off. Damn it. Bazoon turned and asked, "Can we stop the monster?" Ju-ho replied, "Impossible. As you heard before, it seems the monsters will be many times stronger than the ones we're facing right now. And because we've already been fighting a monster, we don't have the mana or stamina to keep fighting." Bazoon was extremely anxious, but to escape the trap, Soo-hyun calmly walked to one side. There's no other choice. Let's go. Eunmi pointed in that direction and yelled, "Did you see that dead body?" "What do you mean, let's go? Are you going to get yourself killed?" Soo-hyun stopped. "You all really don't know anything, do you? This is what the system said about the second method. The summoned monster will chase after all of you. There's nothing about avoiding traps and escaping. It wasn't mentioned, but there's clearly a trap over there. 3 minutes left. The system doesn't lie. Maybe it only applies to those who go against the chosen route. Everyone here has climbed the tower, and even has experience in dungeons, yet you don't know these things. At the same time, think about it. It's obvious we'll all die when the 3 minutes are up. So isn't it better to at least give it a try?" Immediately, Ju-ho stepped forward to back him up. "Let's go. Anyone who disagrees is free to stay behind. But like Soo-hyun said, I think it's best we get out of here." They were about to say something. "Lead Ju-ho, you," he continued. "If you like, you can curse me out, if you think I'm not worthy of being the leader." "Dear, right now, let's think about how to survive together. Whatever happens." Finally, Eunmi scratched her head and spoke up. "Fine, I'm in, because it's better to go with the group, and you wouldn't want to be left behind in a situation like this." He urged them, "Then let's hurry up and go. There's not much time left. Once we get out, we have to close the door." Everyone ran outside, but seeing Soo-hyun still standing there, Yun turned back and asked him, "Aren't you coming?" Soo-hyun calmly replied, "I'll stay behind." She panicked, exclaiming, You're going to stay behind here, but why?" The people who had made it outside turned back in astonishment. Eunbi exclaimed, "He's crazy. He's completely lost his mind. Why? Are you planning to fight all the monsters that are coming here by yourself? Soo-hyun replied, Of course, I won't be staying alone. His words left everyone both confused and panicked. He continued, It's because of one person that I have to stay here. Isn't that right, Miss Kim Eun? She gave a forced laugh, feigning confusion. What? Soo-hyun looked back inside and said, Let's go. Yoon hurriedly refused. No, I want to get out of here. Why do I have to be left behind with you? She panicked and turned around as Juho, who was outside, suddenly started to close the door. Seeing this, little Jun cried out in alarm. What are you doing? What did Yoon do wrong? He replied, I'll explain the details to you later. Yoon turned to run out. Wait, Captain, I don't want to be here. Let me go with you. Soo-hyun also spoke up. Juho, you haven't forgotten that promise, have you? Before the door closed completely, Juho replied seriously, Yes, I remember. Yoon was horrified as the door shut. No, what just happened? Don't go. Hey, everyone. She collapsed to the ground trembling as she cried out, Soo-hyun, why would you do this? We're both going to die if we stay here. I want to live you. You want to live too, don't you? Seeing her like this, Soo-hyun coldly asked, I want to live, huh? Can you really say that? After you put down the thing in your hand. Yoon then turned back with a demonic expression, her hand pulling a sharp dagger from her clothes. Soo-hyun swung his sword, exposing her. Did you think I didn't know that you're from the Murderer Society? He lifted his sword and slashed down, cutting a large gash on the shoulder of her clothes. A symbol was revealed on her skin. Yoon was shocked at being so easily exposed. The Murderers Guild, the absolute worst. A society filled with every type of crazy criminal imaginable, and murderers who during this time would go on to commit countless atrocities in the future. The guild's name wasn't officially known yet, but after a few years they became a threat to humanity, just as dangerous as the Awakening. You could even say that, because of them, the apocalypse came faster. And that's why, to stop this world from collapsing, their very roots must be destroyed. Soo-hyun frowned, recounting her crimes. After killing all the targets in the dungeon, were you planning to get an achievement that fits your guild's lineage? Yoon looked up at him annoyed. He continued, Your calculations were pretty good. Lee Eunbi was completely uncooperative, but I know she values her life. Even during the battle, I could see she was trying to run away. Admin Seok was ambitious about fighting the dungeon, but his combat skills weren't good enough to clear it. And the mysterious man, anyone would find him suspicious, because he arrived with his identity hidden, and you took advantage of that. And you chose him as the first sacrifice. After that, you spread rumors about Lee Juho and Kim Barium so that if something happened, it would be incredibly easy to point the finger at them. But of course, thanks to all that, I was able to figure you out. After listening for a while, Yen burst into trembling laughter. I had a feeling ever since you defeated the one-eyed giant. She stood up, tossing the dagger aside. You're really not so simple, are you? Don't tell me you're actually a high ranker. Kim Soo-hyun, well, it doesn't really matter anymore because you'll be dead soon. When you're killed by the horde of monsters, I'll just open the door and run because I have the invisibility skill. Skill invisibility. You gain the ability to become invisible within a certain range of physical contact, and no sound will be emitted. She recounted her earlier actions. Me being a healer was a lie. My skills were originally geared towards assassination. I'm the one who opened the door when none of you were paying attention. It was all thanks to my skill. The system then displayed a message. The second route of the trial begins. With extreme confidence that which Eun activated her invisibility. Well then, good luck. Soo-hyun calmly replied, I wouldn't be so sure if I were you. Can that skill of yours hide the scent of fresh blood coming off of you? Startled, Yun looked at the blood on her hand. Since when? Oi, just like that, she glanced in horror at the horde of monsters swarming towards her, her pupils reflecting pure despair. A scream caught in her throat. Ah, and then a spray of fresh blood erupted from it. Soo-hyun turned towards the monsters with a cold gaze. Now, you're all that's left. He stood alone facing the monsters, big and small, with incredible calm. They quickly rushed to attack him. Soo-hyun drew his sword rapidly, unleashing multiple slashes of sword energy as he yelled, I'm sorry, but... Buzz, You won't be taking a single step further. A flying lizard monster lunged with its mouth wide open, ready to tear him apart. Sword in hand, Soo-hyun moved swiftly past them, creating a sharp trail of sword energy. His other hand quickly rose to empower that slash of sword energy. Strike down that lizard monster. He quickly landed, followed by the monster's corpse crashing to the ground. Soo-hyun thought grimly, just as I expected. They just keep coming, and there seems to be no end to them. Soo-hyun suddenly smirked, but this is even better, because it's been a long time since I've had a proper setup to prepare for something like this. With that thought, Soo-hyun stretched his hand forward, taunting, "Come and get me, you annoying beasts. I'll finish all of you in a single blow." A stream of blue power appeared in his hand. Outside the dungeon, people were running and urging each other on. "Son, run now." It was Juho's group. Min-seok warned, "Don't stop. The monsters will catch us." Young-mi replied, "I know, you idiot." Behind them, Bazoon ran while wondering, did Yoon really kill him with just a few dirty tricks? How do you know? Juho, still focused on running as fast as he could, answered, "I simply received the information before everyone else." He recalled his earlier conversation with Soo-hyun. "So, is this everything you wanted to tell me?" Juho had turned to ask Soo-hyun, "Are you really just a C-rank awakened Soo-hyun? Why do you ask?" He explained, "Actually, Barium and I talked a bit. Strong enough to take down a Cyclops by yourself. We were wondering, if you're the rumored Kim Soo-hyun." Soo-hyun's expression became priceless, realizing he'd been so obvious when he thought he was being discreet. Juho continued, "If you really are that Kim Soo-hyun, would you be willing to accept the position of raid captain? I think you're more suited for that position than anyone else handling dangerous situations and organizing operations. So please answer me, Soo-hyun. Are you really just C-rank?" "Alright, boy. Alright." Soo-hyun fell silent for a moment as if making a decision, then replied, "No, that's all I can tell you right now. You guessed right, I am Kim Soo-hyun." He calmly reintroduced himself. Juho then asked, "Just as I thought. Are you hiding your identity for some other purpose?" He explained, "I'm doing this for my own reasons, but I'm telling you the truth because I feel you're someone I can trust." Juho laughed, surprising him. "Huh, what?" Soo-hyun continued, "I'm sorry, but I have to refuse your offer. You'll have to continue as the raid captain. After seeing how hard you worked to try and make me the captain, I'm even more certain of my position. You have the calm skills of a leader in the midst of chaos. Plus, you're always willing to sacrifice for the team. You are the true captain. You deserve that position far more than I do." Soo-hyun sincerely praised him. "So, I hope you'll accept my proposal." Hearing this, Juho was confused. "Your proposal?" Soo-hyun explained. "If you recall, I once said I had some matters to discuss with you. This matter is that there's actually a murder in this raid." Hearing this, Juho was completely stunned, breaking into a cold sweat. "A murderer? What do you mean?" Soo-hyun said, "I can give you the details, but first you have to promise me. Promise me you'll get everyone out of here, except for me." He asked uneasily, "Everyone but you? Then what are you going to do?" He replied, "I'm staying behind. My purpose for coming here is to catch the criminal." Back to the present. As Juho ran, he exclaimed in his mind, the #1 rookie void escape. That's Kim Soo-hyun. Because he's so skilled and famous, he can definitely stay behind and buy time for all of us. But even if he's doing it for the mission, can he really handle that endless horde of monsters? Damn it, I have to stop thinking about it. No matter how much I worry, it won't help. Someone like me would just get in the way right now. He gritted his teeth, filled with helplessness. However, an image of Soo-hyun's confident face appeared in his mind. Juho suddenly slowed down. He decided to turn back, shouting, "I won't do it. It doesn't matter what I think. I can't just leave Soo-hyun alone." And with that, he decided to run back inside. "Soo-hyun, I'm sorry." Bezin called out in a panic, "Hey, Lee Juho, where are you going, Lee Juho?" Juho ran resolutely towards the light. "I don't think I can keep my promise to get everyone out of here." "I'm coming." Juho ran to the door, slamming his body against it while yelling, "Soo-hyun!" Suddenly, a surge of power burst out, making him gape. A powerful stream of blue flame erupted outwards. Inside, the corpses of monsters lay flattened on the ground. What is this? Suddenly, from the air, a winged monster dove down to attack Juho. On the other side, the system screen appeared. "Holy fire! Holy fire will burn the wicked." inflicts a fatal wound on enemies of the dark attribute. Holy fire! That stream of power was emitting from Soo-hyun's hand. He rushed forward and the monster was engulfed in the blue flames. Yoo-ho was almost caught in the flames himself. Seeing this, he cried out in alarm, "Joo-ho!" Soo-hyun quickly turned to see the situation behind him, then gritted his teeth and used the skill again as another wave of monsters charged forward. A slash of sword energy accompanied by blue flames shot through the air, stopping them. Joo-ho was once again dumbfounded. Soo-hyun landed on the ground, standing heroically amidst the powerful flames. All around were the burning corpses of monsters. Joo-ho rushed in, calling, Soo-hyun. Soo-hyun somberly questioned, "Lee Joo-ho, why did you come back here?" "Didn't I tell you to leave immediately?" Joo-ho bowed his head to him. "I'm sorry, I couldn't just run away by myself and leave you in this dangerous place." Soo-hyun turned back and smiled at him. He knew exactly what kind of person he was. Joo-ho spoke up again. "Then what about Kim-yun?" He replied, "She's been taken care of. In fact, these monsters dealt with her quite nicely." He suddenly became flustered, scratching his head. "I rushed over here as fast as I could. But it was still after you'd already dealt with all these monsters. So I wasn't any help at all." Soo-hyun turned to look back and smiled. "No, you're still very helpful, because this is the real beginning." Another circle of power appeared in midair, looking incredibly potent. The spatial gate grew larger, and then from within, a skeletal hand reached out from the circle. A skeletal monster with two glowing eyes appeared baring its teeth. Joo-ho's jaw dropped speechless. Soo-hyun, however, calmly said, "Finally, the final boss decides to show up." The monster looked incredibly powerful at a glance. It held a staff that radiated a sinister energy. Its two eyes glowed as it opened its mouth, aiming towards the two people opposite it. Looking at the strange figure, appearing before them in such a world-shaking manner, Soo-hyun spoke in a weary tone. "So, the final boss has appeared." The strange figure had the form of a skeleton, but it wore a cloak that concealed it from head to toe, revealing only its deep purple glowing eyes and the gem on its forehead. Joo-ho was stunned into silence. He had never seen this creature before. He quickly turned to Soo-hyun and asked, "What the hell is that?" Soo-hyun just repeated what he'd said before. "I already told you. It's the dungeon's final boss." Joo-ho couldn't believe his eyes and asked again, "You're saying that skeleton monster is the final boss?" Hearing this, he felt deeply insulted. He frowned as if he couldn't believe someone would dare to look down on him like that. A skeleton monster, how harsh. Hearing it speak, Joo-ho was even more astonished. That skeleton is talking. Soo-hyun, standing beside him, was speechless at his over-the-top reaction. The creature then suggested, "I would be very pleased if you called me by my real name instead of skeleton or something else." Joo-ho, still dazed, asked again, "Your real name?" The creature nodded with a deep voice. "That's right." He introduced himself as the Priest of Darkness, a Lich. He even revealed that it was his name. It's hiding its true form. Right now, it's still very immature. Joo-ho thought, immature? Soo-hyun continued to explain to him, "Right, it's not a real Lich. To be blunt, it just wants to become one. A real Lich has completely different magic stats and concentration levels." Hearing this, he taunted him, "How childish. Do you think I would fall for such a pathetic provocation? Immature." Soo-hyun didn't hold back, directly attacking him. "Underdeveloped. A failure. A try-hard. A fake Lich." Joo-ho could only listen stunned. The Lich was so stunned by the insults that all the confidence he'd shown until now completely vanished. Powerless against his verbal attacks, his voice trembled with rage. "You arrogant bastard, I'll tear you to pieces and feed you to the ghouls." With that, he flew high into the air, gathering his power and forces to attack. Immediately after, countless dead monsters clawed their way out of the ground, rising as zombies. Seeing this, Joo-ho was terrified. He trembled and stammered, unable to form a sentence. The horde of the dead. Meanwhile, Soo-hyun was still busy thinking carefully. Even though he's immature, could he become a real Lich? It seems he has enough power to summon the dead. Very quickly, the corpses stood up straight, facing them like true living creatures. They looked like bloodthirsty, inhuman beings. But there was one other thing he was sure of. The reason the dungeon became a yellow grade one was definitely because of him. But right now, He had already raised his staff, acting one step ahead of him. Du-ho frantically swung his sword to intimidate the zombies, all the while relentlessly complaining, "Why did you have to provoke him? Was that really necessary?" Soo-hyun simply replied calmly, "I had my reasons." Soo-hyun responded with something even more shocking, "Because this way, he'll attack me first." Ju-ho flinched and turned his head to look at him with an expression of complete confusion. Unexpectedly, the sword in his hand suddenly erupted with blazing blue flames illuminating the dark space. Soo-hyun pointed the tip of his sword down at the wide, empty ground around them. Before the zombies could attack, the sword drew a circle on the ground, perfectly enclosing the two of them inside. After one swing of his sword, they were both inside a safe circle of fire. Du-ho was still dazed, not understanding what was happening. Once that was done, Soo-hyun turned to him and said cautiously, "Du-ho, I'm not trying to offend you, but..." He hesitated for a moment before continuing, "You're still not strong enough to fight those monsters alone. And it's not easy for me to fight while also protecting you." Du-ho lowered his head in agreement. "Yeah, I know," he instructed. "The undead won't be able to enter this circle, so don't step out of it and try to draw the monster's attention towards you." He was stunned. "What about you?" Soo-hyun just stared grimly up at the Lich and answered in a low voice, "My opponent is that guy." With that, he shot up from the floor, launching himself straight at the Lich. Even the Lich was startled by Soo-hyun's audacity as he decisively swung his sword down at the creature's form. I thought I had succeeded, but his figure flickered in and out of sight, and my last sword strike obviously missed. I was stunned for a moment, but quickly regained my balance, turning to pinpoint his location. He was lounging in midair, as if lying on a soft mattress, his voice high and challenging. "You're fast human, but it's useless." Soo-hyun was momentarily surprised. Was that instant teleportation? I deduced that leeches aren't strong in physical combat. They use hordes of the dead to maintain distance and avoid close-quarters fighting. Their main goal is to hide their fatal weakness. I've known for a long time that the key their weak point is the life stone on their heads. That magic stone is the foundation and of the life they possess to protect it. Leeches need to keep a distance between themselves and their opponents. Instant teleportation is also an ability developed to suit this specific trait of theirs, I thought. But that means, as long as I can match his speed, I can definitely take his life. I charged decisively towards him, but he was so arrogant, he didn't even bother to react. Because when I actually attacked, slashing across his body, he once again escaped with ease. But from this, I also discovered something new. He uses his cloak to move to my blind spot in an instant. And then, just a few seconds later, he was once again above me, looking down with an even more contemptuous gaze. This time, he didn't just dodge, he counterattacked. Luckily, I was still in time to block it with the sword in my hand. This was also the perfect opportunity to use another one of my abilities. Instantly, Holy Fire engulfed the entire space between him and me. This time he still stood there, underestimating me. As a result, the Holy Fire actually sent him flying. Not only that, but it also created a terrifying explosion. When I came to my senses, I wondered, was that enough to take it out? Just when I thought I had succeeded. A laugh echoing through the space shattered my sense of relief. I strained my eyes to look down at his position below. He was still alive, grinning after my attack. He even raised his voice in a challenge. "That flame is terrifying, I'll give you that." It could certainly have dealt me a fatal wound, but even so, he laughed arrogantly. "What's the use if it can't even touch me?" As expected, he was completely unharmed. Not a single bit of damage had reached his body. I stared at him tensely, my mind racing through all sorts of possibilities. I really thought I had hit him. But perhaps this is my limit when fighting an enemy in the air. Unable to think of a countermeasure for the time being, I decided to try talking for a bit to buy some time. "Watching you think while you're suspended in the air like that is quite amusing." The Lich played along. Thinking is good, but then he emphasized, "Take a look at your sword." The sword in my hand, the only thing keeping me suspended in midair, was now being aggressively corroded by his magic.